Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Betrayed and Was the Reincarnation of Goku movie. Before we start, please go support isonku-sen for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei is betrayed by those he once protected, and through betrayal, he discovers that he is the reincarnation of the most powerful mortal in the 12 universes. Prologue. How it began. It was just another day. Issei was waking up, but he felt like there was no one by his side. Issei. I woke up alone again. Greg. Are you okay, buddy? You've been looking very pale these days. Issei. Yes, I'm fine, Drake. It just seems strange to me that the girls distance themselves from me from one day to the next, and that also makes me sad. Greg. Don't think about that, they've probably been busy with their own things. Issei. Yes, that's what it's like. That was the only thing he said before getting ready, but when he got off he wouldn't see anyone, not even his parents. Issei. How strange, normally my parents are having breakfast at this time. But he wouldn't give it much importance and would go to the academy while he was thinking. Issei. What was that strange dream I had? Drake. Is something wrong with you, buddy? Issei. No, Drake was just thinking about the strange dream I had. Drake. And what happened in your dream? Issei. In the dream I was fighting with a kind of cat with a human body. He called himself Bills, the god of destruction of the universe, and I had an orange doggy and was being surrounded by a red aura. Drake. Partner, it must have been just a dream. Issei. Yes, Drake, but more than a dream, it seemed as if he was remembering it, but well, it's getting late for me. They then arrive at the academy and go to their classroom where classes would be normal until dismissal time and go home. Issei. I have a bad feeling. He said without realizing that he had already arrived home, and then entered and saw everyone gathered in the living room, including the faction leaders and yokai. Rias. You finally arrived, Issei. He said it with a tone of hatred. Sursets. We were about to go look for you. Issei. What's happening, why are you all gathered here? He said it nervously because of the aura that was felt in the environment. Michael. We have made a decision among all of us here present. Issei. And what decision did they make? Azazel. We have decided that you are no longer needed by the factions and that we will also remove you from the Red Emperor. Issei. But why? He said it scared and sad because his parents, his friends from the Citri clan and his girls want to change him. Issei. But why do you do this? I protected you. Why do you have to do this to me? Surzich. The reason is obvious, we got tired of you, besides that you are my weak one, and the one who will take your place is much stronger, and he will be the new fiancé of my sister and her friends. Issei. Is that true, Rias? He said it sadly and somewhat angry because they had used him for their own benefit. Rias. Yes, Issei. We got tired of you, and our fiancé has to be strong and not trash like you are. He said it with a look of hatred. Issei. But I thought they loved me, I risked my life to save them, and this is how they repay me. Rias. Love you? Ha 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 ha, what a good joke, we never loved you, but it was funny how you did all those things for us. He said it with a mocking tone. Sona. Issei, you are no longer welcome at the academy. Your records have been completely erased, and if you dare to approach the academy, I, along with my entourage, will kill you. Issei. I see, so that's how supernatural beings really are. Even the two dragon gods agree as my so-called rival, and if they think I'm going to let myself be killed so easily, they're wrong. I don't care about anything anymore, so if I have to kill them for my survival, I won't hesitate to do so. Issei said, then got into combat stance and activated his armor, then launched himself against the faction leaders, who imitated the brown-haired boy's actions. After a couple of hours of fighting, you can see a brown-haired boy struggling between life and death, and the faction leaders were very injured, but still standing. Michael. It was a good fight, but this is as far as you go, Haidu. Issei. They then proceed to remove the Sasur. And then you laugh and he will take away the pawn pieces. Rias. Kaneko, take this trash out of here, my dear Yuki is about to arrive. Kaneko, yes President. He said, then took the chestnut tree to a forest and left it all damaged. Issei. I never thought I would die like this. And then close your eyes, but you would hear a voice. Mysterious voice. You can't give up, there are still people you have to protect. Issei. Who is the one who is there? He said it with a muffled and very weak voice. Mysterious voice. Behind you. So then Issei turns around and sees a man with an orange doggy and messy hair. Issei. Who are you? Subject. Hello, my name is Son Goku, it's a pleasure to meet my reincarnation. Issei. Am I your reincarnation? Goku? That's right. But let's get off track. I'll ask you a question. Do you want power? Issei. Yes, I want power. Goku. And tell me, what do you want power for? Issei. So I can get revenge for what they did to me. Goku. Seriously, that's all you want power for? Isn't there something else you want power for? Issei had been left thinking. Issei's thought. Issei. What else would I want power for? After saying that Issei would remind his human friends and the innocent people of Earth that they do not deserve to suffer for something that the factions did to them. End of thought. Goku was still waiting until Issei decided to speak. Issei. I want power to protect innocent people who do not deserve to suffer for what those faction leaders did to me. Goku. And you'll still continue with the idea of your revenge. Issei. No, revenge doesn't leave me with anything good anymore. I'm just going to make them see what they lost because of their selfishness and I won't protect them anymore. Goku. Well, that was the answer I was looking for. He said it with a smile that reflected pride. Issei. Now what should I do to get power? After saying that, Goku extended his hand and then said. Goku. I will train you, and once the training is finished, my duty here will also be finished. Issei. Thank you, master. After saying that, Issei shook his hand. Out of Issei's mind. A wounded Issei could be seen, then surrounded by a white light. After the light was released, an awakening Issei could be seen, but he felt different, so he went to look at a nearby river and saw himself, but with more disheveled and black hair, as well as his eyes. Goku. Surprised. Issei. Master, where are you? Goku. Behind you. Issei. How did he get out? Goku. I told you I would take care of training you. Issei. Well, it's time to become stronger to protect the land from threats. Issei said with determination. Goku. That's the attitude, Issei. It's time for the Saiyans to rise from the ashes. End of prologue. Chapter 1, The Awakening of Power. After Issei agreed to train with Goku, they would head to a desolate place. Issei. Master, why are we here? Goku. Here was the time room. Issei. Room of time? Issei asked, confused. Goku. Yes, it's a room where a day out here is a year in there. Issei. And how long will we train? Goku. We will train for 2 years, but don't worry. I asked at Dragon Balls a long time ago that the years we spend there will not affect us. Issei. How cool. He said it with enthusiasm. Meanwhile, with Issei's ex-friends. Zerzich. We finally got rid of that garbage. Rias. If so, I can join Yuki to my entourage. He said and then hugged a boy with black hair, blue eyes and a well-working body. Yuki. I was finally able to become a Sekiryuutei. He said it with emotion and then took out the dragon gauntlet and closed his fist hard and thought. Yuki's thought. With this, the second step of my plan is done. There's only one more step left for my plan to come out perfectly. Back with Issei and Goku. Goku. We're here. Issei. Is that it? But why is it like that? He said it in surprise because the temple was no longer in the sky but was on the ground as if it had crashed. Goku. If that's it, it's because they didn't use it for a long time, and since it didn't receive maintenance during that time, what kept the temple in the air deteriorated and broke. But the time room is fine, so there's nothing to worry about. Issei. I see. That was the only thing he said as he followed Goku into the temple. Upon entering the time awakening, Issei fell to his knees due to gravity. Issei. Why can't I move? Goku. The gravity of this room is greater than that of Earth, so you'll have to get used to it. Issei. Yes, you are, master. They proceed to get up with great difficulty. Goku. Well, first you have to run to get used to gravity. Issei. Yes. Do then run for 2 hours and not feel so heavy anymore. Goku. Okay, now we'll have a fight to see how strong you are. Issei. Yes, master. He said and then put himself in a fighting stance. Goku. Go ahead and don't hold back. It was the last thing he said before dodging Issei's blow as if it were nothing. 2 hours later. You could see an Issei completely exhausted because he couldn't land a single hit. Goku thinking. I thought I'd have to do it. Goku. Issei, get up. Issei. What's wrong, master? Goku. Is that all the strength you have? Issei. Unfortunately, yes. Goku. You need to concentrate more. Issei. Yes, but it is very difficult for me to do it. Goku. Issei, I need you to remember what the factions did to you. Issei. But because you know I don't want to remember those damn people. He said it with great anger. Goku. Just do it. Issei. Yes, master. He said and then remembered the moments he spent with the Gremory clan and then remembered what they did to him. Well, he remembered his hair flickered from black to gold consecutively, but what made him really angry were Ria's words before they almost killed him, and then he screamed. Ay. After that scream, an Issei was seen with his hair standing up, emerald green eyes and a golden aura. Goku surprised. He managed to transform into a Super Saiyan on the first try. Issei. It's time to keep training. Goku. Okay, let's continue. He said to transform into a Super Saiyan and begin to exchange blows. Out of nowhere, Issei disappeared from Goku's sight to kick him so he flies, but Goku managed to recover and give Issei a blow to the stomach, followed by a blow to the face, and he crashed to the ground. Issei. He's very strong. He said it impressed. Goku. Issei is enough. Issei. What's wrong, master? Goku detransforms. Issei detransforms too. Issei. Yes. They then detransform. Goku. Now transform back. Issei confused. But why? Goku. Just do it. Issei. Okay. They then transform. Goku. Never forget that feeling. Issei. Yes, master. Chapter 2. Revelations and a Farewell. 2 years passed in the human world and many things had happened. First, Ria's fiancé had betrayed the factions and did things that no one imagined he would do, such as massacring both humans and supernatural beings, apart from telling them that all this was a plan to get the Red Emperor Dragon. Second, he had taken a sample of Ria's Gremory's power of destruction. And finally, he threatened the factions that if they did not give him leadership of the 3 factions, he would destroy them. Well, with Issei. Issei had done very well with his training. In those 2 years he achieved the transformations from SSJ1 to SSJ Blue, and he had also been able to master 70% of Ultra Instinct in its incomplete form, but not everything was happiness for Issei, because after 2 years he had finished his training, and Goku went to who knows where. Flashback. Goku. Issei, I need to tell you something. He said it seriously. Issei. What's wrong, master? Goku. Your training is over and it's time for me to leave. Issei. But why? I ask him with a sad tone. Goku. I have nothing left to teach you and you already know how to learn to master Ultra Instinct. Issei. But master, I don't know what I should do. Goku. You have to protect the people of Earth. I know you'll do well because from now on you're the new Son Goku. Issei. No low boy to disappoint Maestro. Goku. You'll do it very well, Issei. It was the only thing he said before rising to the sky, but before disappearing he said to Issei. Goku. Raise the name of the Saiyan race. To then disappear into the clouds. Issei. Thank you, master. That was the only thing he could say to start looking for a place to build a cabin until he found a good place to build his new house. End of flashback. Currently Issei is warming up a bit before going to get food. Issei's thoughts. Issei. Lately I've felt a somewhat powerful presence, but the strangest thing is that he's in Kuo. But well, I suppose those faction leaders will take care of it, but if they can't do it I'll have to intervene, but I don't want to see them again, but on the other hand I have to protect the people of that place, but well, I'm already hungry. End of thought. All with Issei's ex-friends. The faction leaders could be seen in a meeting with their representatives, who are Gabriel, Penemu, Serafal. As well as the Gremory and Citri clans and the Yake faction. The first to speak is the king of the underworld. As well as Vali and his group. Zerzich. Well, the reason we brought him to this meeting was because the current Sekiryuutei has been making offensive moves towards the factions. Azazel. Yes, I could notice it too. Michael. Apparently everyone here noticed it. He said it in a serious tone. Zerzich. I wish we had never trusted that bastard and I wish we had never killed Issei. He said it with a tone of fury and clenching his fists, while the others bowed their heads in sadness and regret. Azazel. But we can't do anything anymore, he said, no sadness. Michael. We have betrayed an exceptional boy. Ali. But it's very strange that his body disappeared from where we left it. Azazel. We sent troops of angels, fallen angels and demons to search for his body, but they did not find him. Rias. If I had known his intentions I wouldn't have done that to Issei. He said it shedding tears. Meanwhile with Issei. Issei could be seen lying on the grass watching the clouds. Issei thinking. I think I should go back to Kuo to see who has that presence, even if it's not that strong it worries me. And by the way, I can go to university. He thought bored. Issei. Yes, I will, and if those faction leaders or the Citri or Gremory clans attack me, it won't be a problem. Saying that the black-haired boy went to take a bath and get ready to then teleport to an alley in the city. Issei wore a t-shirt under a very tight white jacket that highlighted his well-worked body, he also wore black jeans and white tennis shoes. The girls looked at him with predatory eyes as if at any moment they were going to take him, while the men looked at him with envy. But Issei did not care and continued on his way while thinking. Issei thinking. This place has hardly changed at all, but I wouldn't want to meet any supernatural beings. While he was thinking he didn't realize that they had already reached their destination. The inscriptions were normal. When he came out he saw a renegade demon attacking some civilians. Issei. I have to do something. After saying that he saw how the demon attacked a family. Issei. I must not act. He said and then stepped in at high speed and then said. Issei. You've already made a lot of messes. He said and then moved at great speed and made the demon explode with a blow. Issei. I thought he would give me more of a fight, but he just turned out to be a disappointment. He said and then realized that people were watching him, which made him somewhat uncomfortable, and he left at great speed until he reached the top of a building. Issei. It's a good thing they didn't see my whole face. I should use the mask my teacher gave me. Note. Issei's mask will be Bardock's from Dragon Ball Heroes. End of note. After saying that, Issei took out a mask from who knows where and then put it on. Issei. It feels weird to wear this mask. But his thoughts were interrupted because two magic circles appeared and from these the Gremory and Citri retinue came out. Issei thinking. What I was missing. He said it in his mind, annoyed at meeting those two clans. Chapter 3. Reunion. After the Citri and Gremory clans appeared, one of the girls spoke. Rias. Who are you and what are you doing in our territory? He said to receive no response. Sona. If you don't answer, we'll have to finish you off. Issei. You'll have to find out for yourself. Rias. If you want to fight, that's what you'll get. He said and then sent his knight who took out his sacred sword and lunged at the black-haired boy who didn't make any movement. That act of the boy made the Gremory heiress think that he had given up, but her surprise was great when she saw that her knight's sword broke as if it were glass. Issei. You better leave if you don't want to get hurt. Rias. Don't underestimate us. At that Rias throws a sphere of destruction, a sphere which Issei deflects very easily. Issei. Your power levels are very insignificant. I'll give you a second chance. Go away. Rias. Not until you tell us who you are and what you want here. Issei. I warned them. At that, Issei, at great speed, struck the Gremory knight in the stomach, leaving him unconscious. Rias. Kiba. After hitting Kiba, he began to hit Kaneko against the floor until she was unconscious. Rias. You're a bastard. She said it very furiously and then launched a combined attack with a Keno that hit Issei directly, causing a lot of smoke to appear. Rias. He was strong, but with that attack we eliminated him. At that moment a voice was heard in the smoke. Issei. That attack was too weak, it didn't even tickle me. He said and then came out of the smoke with his clothes torn but without any scratches. Rias shocked. How did you come out unharmed if we launched that attack at you with all our power? Issei. If that's all their power, they are pathetic. He said that he would then launch a Kai sphere that left the Citri and Gremory very injured and unconscious. Issei. And to think that I was weaker than you didn't even make me use 3% of my base power. He said and then teleported to an alley in the city and walked around it. Well, with the factions. They felt a power that surpassed them and went to the place where that power was felt, but when they arrived they saw the Citri and Gremory clans very wounded and unconscious. Zerzich. They are very injured, they need to be taken to their club. He said he would then make a magic circle and take the two groups of demons to the occult club. Meanwhile with Issei. The black-haired man was walking thinking. Issei. It was close, if I hadn't put on the mask they would have seen my face, I should be more attentive. As he walked his stomach growled from hunger. Issei. I'm very hungry. He said to enter a restaurant. After ravaging and almost bankrupting the restaurant, he teleported home to sleep since it was getting late and the black-haired man was sleepy. All with Issei's ex-friends. The Citri and Gremory groups had already woken up after being healed and Rias informed the faction leaders about the masked subject. Given this statement, the leaders of the three factions became interested in that subject and asked Sona to portray that subject in a drawing. Once the drawing was finished, the leaders were somewhat surprised by the mask that had a strange style. After seeing the subject, they sent demons, angels and fallen angels to look for him. The next day. With Issei. Issei was waking up from a nice dream by the rays of the sun. Issei. What a pain, but I have to go. He said and then looked at the time on his watch and saw that there was 1 hour left to go to the university. After looking at the time he went to take a bath and then go eat something to then teleport to an alley in the city and walk to the university. The classes were normal and luckily for the black-haired man the Gremory did not go, but what he did not count on was that the Citri did go and when they saw him they were in shock and immediately went to the abyssal leaders of the factions, but when they arrived the leaders of the factions and the Gremory were going to the underworld since they were attacking it, but they did not realize that a black-haired man was listening. Issei. I should go, also that presence I was feeling is there. Fine, I'll go. He said and then put his fingers on his forehead and disappeared. Upon arriving, he put on his mask and flew towards the presence, but as he flew, he saw that the city of the underworld was destroyed. Issei. He must be strong to do this in an instant. But his thoughts were interrupted because he saw someone he hated very much. Issei. Yuki, that bastard, it wasn't enough for him to steal Drake from me, but now he attacks innocent people, but I wonder how he got that power. He's a little superior to Amayu, but it won't be a problem for me. But he was interrupted again because he saw how Yuki threw a large piece of rubble towards a child who could not move because of fear. At that, the child opened his eyes but did not feel anything, and when he opened his eyes, he found that a black-haired man destroyed the rubble with a finger. Issei. I'll take care of you, run and get to safety. The boy nodded and ran as far away as he could, hiding and watching what the masked man was doing. Well with Issei. Issei was looking at Yuki in a serious way, although it wasn't noticeable because of the mask. Issei. Why are you doing this? Yuki. For fun, why else would I do it? He said provocatively. Issei. What happened to you being Rias Gremory's new pawn? He said it in an equally provocative way. Yuki. I didn't let them put the pawn pieces on me, and I betrayed them. Issei. I never thought the traitors would end up betrayed. He said it with some grace. Then the factions arrive along with the Citri and Gremory clans. Yuki. It seems everyone is already here, well that's perfect, everyone will see how the demons disappear. He said and then placed a hand on the floor and created a large magic circle that expanded throughout the city of the underworld. Issei. With that he will destroy the entire city. With that, he threw a Kai sphere at her, causing Yuki to lose concentration and fly away. Yuki. Damn, you'll pay for this. After saying that, he lunged at Issei, who dodged all his goals with some ease. Issei. You're slow. And he hit him in the stomach, followed by a blow to the face that left him very injured. This greatly surprised those present, who could not utter a single word due to astonishment and feeling the power of the black-haired man. Note. Zerzic and Melika's parents were also there. End of note. Yuki. How did two simple goals leave me in this state? Issei. I recommend that you retire now that I give you the opportunity to do so. Yuki. Who the hell are you? Issei thinking. I think it's time for me to rebel. At that, Issei would slowly remove his mask, and when he took it off he left everyone in shock since they were seeing the one they thought was dead for 2 years. While in the boosted gear. You could see a surprised and at the same time happy Drake to see his best friend. Drake. Mate, glad to see you alive. Out of the boosted gear. You could see a surprised Yuki seeing the one he thought was dead in front of him. Yuki. How are you still alive? Issei. That's none of your business or anyone else's here. He said and then extracted the boosted gear from Yuki's body. Issei. Well, now your end has come. He said to extend his hand and throw a sphere of Kai at Yuki that disintegrated him instantly. While with the others. They were shocked to see the scene. The first to recover was Rias, who ran to later take the hand of an Issei who was already going home because he was sleepy. Rias. Issei, can we talk? Issei. I have nothing to talk about with you or anyone here. He said and then let go of Ria's hand and disappeared with his teleportation, leaving everyone there surprised by the black-haired man's feat. Chapter 4. A new enemy. 2 days had passed since Issei's appearance, the 3 factions searched for him almost all over the world and did not find him. Well with Issei. The black-haired man was training in the time room trying to master the ultra instinct which dominated him at 60% in its incomplete state. Issei. I think that's enough for today. He said and then detransformed and went to take a bath. After Issei took a bath, he put on a black doggy and flew out of the temple. Note. Issei's combat suit will be black S. End of note. Issei. I think I revealed myself very soon. Lately I feel several energies of angels, fallen angels and demons somewhat close to here, I suppose they are looking for me. But well, nothing can be done now. He said and then landed at the door of his house and quickly entered and slept since he felt very tired since using Ultra Instinct used a lot of energy. Issei. Tomorrow I have to go to university. I want to see the faces they'll make when they see me in the same place where they study. Hahaha. He said and then closed his eyes and went to sleep. The next day. The black-haired man could be seen entering the university while receiving looks of lust from the girls and envy and some admiration from the boys. But he did not give it much importance and went to his classroom where classes had already started. At that moment, Issei knocks on the door and instantly the teacher opened the door and said. Professor. Yes, young man. How can I help you? Issei. I'm the newcomer. Teacher. Okay, when I tell you to come in. Issei. Okay. Teacher. Students, we have a new student. Youth pass. At that moment Issei entered the classroom and you could see a Redeed and 3 black-haired girls surprised to see the one they betrayed in their own classroom. Issei. Hello, nice to meet you, my name is Issei, I hope we get along well. Well, a certain Redeed whispered. Rias. Is here. Teacher? Well, young Issei, you can sit in any empty spot. Issei? Yes. That was the only thing he said before going to sit in a free seat. Well, elsewhere. On a distant planet you could see a guy wearing Saiyan armor and with a tail of the same type. Mysterious object. Apparently I'm not the last Saiyan in the universe. I'd better pay him a visit. He said it with a smile. Well, with Issei. Classes had already ended and everyone was already going home. Issei was about to leave, but the director's voice resonated saying. Young Issei is needed in the occult club. Issei just had to go. Upon arriving he opened the door and saw everyone who betrayed him including the Citri clan, the volley team and his parents. Zerzich. Hello Issei-kun. But he was interrupted by seeing that the black-haired man had formed a Kai sword, which surprised everyone. Issei. You dare to speak to me so familiarly after what they did to me. He said and then went towards him and put the sword to his neck with a speed that surprised everyone again. Rias. Please stop, we are very sorry, me and the others. Should not have treated you that way, please forgive us. She said it very regretfully, just like the others. Issei. Do you think that with it I'm going to forgive what they did to me? Those memories have been tormenting me all these years. Azazel. Wait, Issei, we just want everything to be like before. Issei. You shut up. He said and then punched him in the stomach, knocking him unconscious. Issei. They're damn hypocrites. He said it raising his power and scaring those present. But Rias took courage and went to hug him as did all the girls including Gabriel, Serafal, Sona, Stupaki, Penemu, Hiroka, Yasaka and her daughter Kunu. Issei. Let me go. But in order not to cause more problems he relaxed and with an increase of Kai, he threw them all to the ground. He was about to leave, but his mother got in his way. Issei. Get out of the way. Issei's mother. Please listen to us. Issei, I have nothing to hear from you guys, so get out of here now. He said it while holding back the urge to launch an attack. Not only listen to what we have to say to you. Issei. I'm tired. This is my last warning. If you don't get out now, what I'll do will be the last thing you see. He said it with a voice from beyond the grave. Issei's mother, upon hearing that, had no choice but to leave. Issei. Good decision. I just wasted my time, goodbye. At that Issei leaves the club leaving everyone surprised and sad. Rias. We are fools, if we hadn't betrayed him this would never have happened. Well with Issei. How dare they ask me for forgiveness after they hurt me physically and psychologically. Greg. Mate, is that you? Issei. It was about time you woke up, Derg. How do you feel? Greg. Okay, but I feel something strange about you. Issei. I was training after what happened with the factions and I discovered something that I will surely be the most powerful Sekiryuutei from now on. Greg confused. And what is it? And that Issei would tell him everything that happened as well as his training and he would also tell him about Goku. Greg surprised. Wow mate, that seems very hard to believe but I can hear sincerity in your words, so I believe you. Issei. Okay, now let's eat something, I'm very hungry. He said, grabbing his stomach from the hunger he had. Greg. Now I don't think you'll use me since with your power no one surpasses you. Issei. Don't say that, besides we still have the fight with the White One pending. Greg. It's true. I want to see us beat him up. He said it very excitedly. Issei. Yes, but it's time to eat. After saying that and almost bankrupting the restaurant where the black-haired man ate, he would fly home. Issei. Okay now let's. But he would be interrupted by a blow that would send him to the ground. Issei. What the heck was that? But I would see someone who had a Saiyan armor and a green aura. Issei. It can't be, I thought I was the only Saiyan. Who are you and why are you attacking me? Subject. My name is Yamashi and I have come to kill you. Issei. Kill me? But why? Yamashi. Easy, you're the only one who can interfere with my plans. Issei. What plans are you talking about? Yamashi. What I want is to rule the universe and I'm going to start by destroying this planet. After saying that, a golden aura surrounded him and then he screamed and transformed into a Super Saiyan. Issei. I won't allow it. He said it to transform into a Super Saiyan. Well with the factions. The faction leaders felt that power scared everyone including the two groups Citri and Gremory. Rias. That power is beyond our imagination. She said it terrified like everyone present. Well with Issei. Issei launched himself against Yamashi who imitated the action giving way to a battle that would shake the planet and all mythologies and factions. Chapter 5. The appearance of a Saiyan god. The battle between Issei and Yamashi had begun. Currently, Issei and Yamashi were exchanging blows of such magnitude that everything around them was being destroyed. Yamashi. Wow, you're not doing bad at all. Issei. I say the same. And that Issei hits him in the stomach, followed by a blow to the jaw that would send him to heaven, then Issei teleported and kicked him in the stomach that would send him to the ground. Imashi. Simply amazing, his strength is incredible. He said it in a murmur. Issei. What's wrong Yamashi, I don't want to, were you going to kill me? Yamashi. That's what I'm going to do, but I want to have a little fun before doing it. Issei. We'll see about that. He said and then lunged at Yamashi who did the same to collide their fists and make a large shock wave. While in the factions. Everyone who betrayed Issei could be seen watching Issei's battle on a holographic screen, very surprised by the strength of the two combatants. Zerzich. The strength of those two is incredible. Michael. I've never felt so much power. Not even my father's was that strong. Azazel. When did Issei get so strong? He said it impressed because he had never seen Issei using such a magnitude of power. But the girls of the Gremory and Citri clans, they were very surprised by the battle and blushed to see Issei with blonde hair and green eyes. Rias. In that transformation, Issei looks more handsome than before. The Keno. Issei looks very good. He said it licking his lips and imagining unholy things with him. But Issei. You could see in Issei somewhat tired from the fight as well as Yamashi. Issei thinking. If I continue like this we won't get anywhere. Yamashi. Not bad kid but this is over. He said to create a large sphere of energy and throw it at Issei who dodged it with great difficulty, thus causing a huge explosion. Issei. That was close. I think I should move on to that transformation. He said it in a murmur. Yamashi. What's wrong? Are you tired yet? Issei. No, this is just the beginning. He said and then closed his eyes and changed his hair and eye color to a crimson red. Yamashi. So you reached it? Issei. This transformation is the Super Saiyan God. Well with the factions. Zerzich. Did he say Super Saiyan God? He said it very shocked that Issei had reached the power of a god. Ria's thinking. Her hair is red like mine. I thought about it, very blushing for seeing the ex-brown like that. But Issei. Issei. It's time to get started on this. Yamashi. Come with everything you have. At that moment, Issei, with great speed, lands a blow to his face, causing him to crash to the ground. Yamashi thinking. His speed increased. Issei. Super Saiyan God consists of greater speed. Yamashi. This will be fun. Chapter 6. Ultra Instinct. Yamashi. This will be fun. Issei. Let's get started. Thus Issei would launch himself against Yamashi, resuming his fight in which Issei had some advantage due to the speed provided by the transformation of the Super Saiyan God. In that, Issei would land a punch in the stomach, knocking him into the air. Issei. What's wrong? Is that all you have? I thought you'd put up more of a fight. Yamashi. You are very confident. That said, Yamashi would increase his power excessively, thus turning the fight around. Now Issei had difficulties blocking and dodging his opponent's blows. Until Yamashi would hit him in the face, causing him to shed blood, then he would hit him in the stomach and finish with a blow to the ribs, causing Issei to scream in pain and crash into a mountain. Issei. Damn, he got very strong. He said to get up with his clothes torn. Yamashi. You shouldn't have been so confident. Issei. You're right, you're very strong, stronger than I thought, which means I'll have to go all out and then I'd start screaming. Thus transforming into Super Saiyan Blue. Yamashi. So you still have more power, huh? Haha, this will be more interesting. Well with the factions. They were very impressed by Issei's transformation. Zerzich. Wow, this is amazing. Azazel. It's as if he had no limits at all. Ice. He was in a fighting stance as he stared at Yamashi. Note. The fight would be like that of Goku and Broly. After throwing that giant ball of energy, Issei would dodge it, starting to fly and preparing to launch a Kamehameha, but Yamashi would get ahead of him and at great speed, would deliver a blow to the stomach, causing him to spit blood and fall to the ground abruptly. Issei. Damn, this guy is really strong, not even with the blue guy can I beat him. He said something uneasy and frustrated. Yamashi. What's wrong with everything you have? What a disappointment. He said and then gathered energy in his fist and at great speed delivered a very strong blow to the stomach, causing him to detransform and spit out a large amount of blood, crashing into some mountains, destroying them upon impact and leaving Issei almost inconsistent. Issei. Damn, I can't take it anymore, that blow was too strong. Yamashi. It was a great fight, but this is as far as you go. But the factions. They were terrified because according to them Issei had lost. Zerzich. We are not lost. He said very nervously. Rias. It can't be my Issei lost. She said scared and worried. Asia. No. Issei-san can't lose, he would never give up so easily. Zenobia. Asia is right, he would never give up that easily. Ice. Issei. Damn, I can't move. Imashi. Your mistake was being overconfident. He said and then kicked him, sending him crashing, and then threw a Kai blast, leaving Issei badly injured and almost unconscious. And that he created a large sphere of energy and threw it at Issei, who couldn't do anything. Issei. Damn. At that, Issei suddenly opens his eyes and a white light. Mowing Yamashi. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw Issei with white hair, an imposing aura and silver eyes that would scare Yamashi a little, and he saw how he walked towards him. Yamashi. What happened to you? Issei. Are you finished? But the factions. Everyone was in shock to see Issei like that. Zerzich. It's amazing. Issei is amazing. Azazel. This boy really has no limits. Michael. He looks like a real god. Ria's parents, who didn't say anything during the entire fight, were imagining what their grandchildren would be like with that power. Rias. What happened to her? She said, red like her hair, just like all the others. In the fight. Imashi. No matter how much you increase your power, you will not defeat me. Issei. Don't jump to conclusions. At that moment, Issei hits Yamashi in the face and sends him crashing into some mountains. Yamashi. Damn. Yamashi began to throw desperate blows, but Issei dodged them very easily. Yamashi. His speed increased a lot. Issei. It's time to end this. And that Issei gives Yamashi thousands of blows in a matter of seconds and leaves him very badly injured. Issei. It's over. Then he extends his hand pointing at Yamashi. Issei. I don't like the idea of annihilating someone of my own race, but your intentions are evil, so. He doesn't stay. He said to watch as Yamashi disappeared into particles of light as he screamed in pain. Until he vanished from existence. Issei. So this is in perfect Ultra Instinct. It's amazing. It's good that no one saw my fight. Note. Not. Only those who betrayed Issei saw this fight, but they also broadcast it to all the factions, meaning now Issei is very well known in the supernatural world. End of not a. At that, Issei falls to the ground in a lot of pain, returning to his base state while emanating purple rays, and began to scream in pain. Moments before with Issei's former friends. Everyone was shocked to see how Issei erased that guy from existence, but they were even more surprised to see how Issei lost in Ultra Instinct. Rias. What's wrong with my Issei? She said it very worriedly. Zerzich. We don't know, Rias, but we have to go fast. He said it worriedly when he saw Issei screaming in pain and trying to make a magic circle to transport everyone. Ice. He fainted because he could no longer bear the pain he felt throughout his body, but just after he fainted, a magic circle was formed and the traitors appeared. All the girls ran desperately to help the black-haired man. Rias. Issei, my Issei, don't die, stay by my side. She said as she hugged him and shed a couple of tears like the others. Zerzich. Let's take him home to rest. He said to make another magic circle and take Issei along with everyone present. Chap 7. A disciple. Time jump. 2 days had passed since Issei was taken to the Gremory house. The black-haired man could be seen waking up in a strange dark room. Issei couldn't see anything. Until he got out of the bed he was lying in, the first thing that happened to him was that he hit his foot on something hard, causing Issei to wince in pain since he wasn't wearing shoes. After several blows while looking for the light switch, he finally found it and turned on the light, finding a scene that scared him. Issei. Dragon, are you there? Issei asked, scared by what he saw around him. Greg. Yes, partner. Issei. I'm scared. The black-haired man said since on the walls of the room, you could read Issei's name in very large red letters, as well as dolls of him with lipstick on his face, as if he had been defaced, and some photos of him in places like the cafeteria buying food and in the clothing store. Issei. Someone is harassing me. Greg. That girl who is stalking you must be really obsessed with you. Said the dragon inside. Issei. I have to get out of here. But he felt a presence in the room. Greg. Apparently we are not alone in the room. Issei felt a shiver run down his spine and then turned around to see Aridid, who looked at him as if she was going to grape him at that moment. Rias, hello Issei 1. Aridid said with a seductive tone. Issei. What the hell are you doing here? Rias. Can't I stay in my room? Issei, upon hearing that, was shocked and thought this bitch is crazy. But then a magic circle appeared from under the two and teleported them to a large distant meeting room where all the traitors were, including Team Volley, along with Office and the dogs, I mean the girls from the Gremory clan and Ria's parents. Issei. Tell me why I'm here. Zerzich. Well Issei-kun, what we want is for you to return to my sister's entourage. Issei. No. Zerzich. You're forgetting an important detail. Issei. Which one? Zerzich. Well, when you defeated Razor you became my sister's fiancé, that was the deal. Issei. You're right, that was the deal. But you broke it by betraying me. So now I'm leaving. But when he was about to leave he fell to the ground. Issei. What the hell is wrong with me? I fell to the ground. Zerzich. We knew this would happen, so we took advantage of the fact that you were weak and put cellos on you to block it. Azazel. Your power goes beyond our imagination, so we took advantage of the 2 days you were unconscious to be able to seal your power. Greg. Mate, I can remove the cellos, but in the meantime, try to buy time. Issei whispering. Thanks Dreg. Lord Gremory. And well, changing the subject, we want you to tell us what that power was that you used against that guy. Lady Gremory. Yes, Issei, we want to know what kind of power my grandchildren will inherit. Zenobia. Yes, Issei, please tell us what power that is so we can have strong children. Asia. Yes, please forgive and let's be happy. Rias. Issei, let's forget this and make a strong family, and that's why tell us what power that is. Issei whispering. Dreg, how much longer? Dreg. Half is missing, so hang in there. Issei, sighing. Well, I'll tell you. Everyone was paying attention to what he was about to say. What I use is Kai. Zerzich. Kai. Interesting, tell us more. Issei. Kai is the vital energy that all living beings have inside them. Everyone had a face of not understanding anything. Issei thinking. I thought they were smarter, even I understood it the first time, it's what keeps us alive. Zerzich. Explain yourself better. Issei thinking. Damn, and to think that I was the biggest idiot of all. Azazel. We don't understand you. Issei. I'll give you an example, let's say they are machines without any source of energy. They can't work, the same thing happens to us without Kai, which is our source of energy. We can't live. Do you understand? The black-haired man explained to them like a teacher to his students, who now understood. Rias. Now we understand you, but I have a question. Issei, sighing. Which one? Rias. Why couldn't we feel your power when you became that Super Saiyan God? Issei. It's because I used a variant of Kai, which is Divine Kai, and before you ask me what that is, it's the power of a god, and that means that since that transformation, I'm practically a god. Everyone was surprised when they heard that and wanted to have the boy in their ranks even more. Michael. Well, anything else to say? Issei. Yes, and while I was telling them all this, a friend that I have kept quiet inside me freed me from my jealousy. He said, then stood up and put his fingers on his forehead. Issei. Goodbye. It was the only thing he said to disappear. Everyone was surprised when they saw that, and the girl screamed eee. The boy appeared on the roof of a building and went down inside, going to eat something since he had some money in his pocket. Note. Am lucky Issei, you have a godly fight and you don't drop any money, but I barely run, and I drop everything. End of note. While walking through the city he chatted with his dragon friend. Issei. And that's how I ended up all beaten up by the girls I was spying on. Dreg laughed his head off. Issei. Hey, it's not that bad. He said sadly while listening to a commotion in an alley. The boy approached to see something that enraged him, he saw that some thugs were surrounding a boy of about 14 years old. Boy. Don't come closer. Thug 1. Damn brat, we're going to give you what you deserve. Thug 2. That's what happens to you for asking us for money. He said with a knife in his hand trying to stab the boy, but Issei intervened appearing in front of the criminal giving him a blow that would leave him unconscious. Thug 1. Damn. He said to hit him, but the black-haired man blocked it by hitting him in the stomach, causing him to faint. Issei. Are you okay? I asked, giving him my hand to lift him up. And? The boy replied to shake the black-haired boy's hand. Issei. What is your name? My name is Kuredo. Issei. And why did they attack you? Kuredo. You see, I'm an orphan and I didn't have any money to buy food. I tried to ask those guys for money and out of nowhere they took me to an alley to attack me for asking them for money. Until you arrived. Issei. Well, where are you staying? Kuredo. In an abandoned house. Issei. I'll stop you if you stay with me and I'll train you since I see that you have potential. Kuredo. Seriously, can I go with you? I ask very excitedly. Issei. Of course, and I'll take you as a disciple. Kuredo. Thank you very much. Issei. Alright, let's go. Kuredo. Yes sensei. The boy said very excitedly. Chapter 8. It had been 2 weeks since Issei's kidnapping, in which Issei trained Kuredo who could already master Kai, which surprised Issei at how quickly he learned to master Kai, and like him, he tried to master Ultra Instinct, which was practically impossible for him, since every time he managed to activate the imperfect form he fainted after a few seconds, but thanks to the effort he made, he was able to master it 40%, which made him happy. Present. You could see an Issei moving house with Kuredo and Y. Well, it's easy because in those 2 weeks of tranquility for Issei, the girls of the Gremory clan were harassing him without him realizing it, which was strange. They followed him everywhere until they discovered where he lived. And how did he find out? Flashback. Issei calm with Kureto returning from the university academy while they were talking very happily. Upon arriving, Issei felt several presences inside his house, more specifically in his room, which prevented the black-haired boy, and he ran into his home and was very surprised to see that the Gremory girls were smelling his clothes in desperation. Issei. What the hell are you doing? Altered scream as the Gremory were scared and screamed while the black-haired man's companion peeked through the door and saw what they were doing. Kureto. How crazy you all are. He said with a poker face. The girls, not knowing what to do, made a magic circle and left the place, taking with them another piece of Issei's clothing. Kureto. Issei, who were they? Issei. Some crazy stalkers. He said something angry. Kureto. And now what will we do? Issei. We'll move since I can't be safe while a horde of crazy people are harassing me, and by the way they know where we live. Kureto. Now where are we going? Issei, sighing. Well, in case this happens, I found an apartment in the city of Kuo. Kureto. Well, what will happen to this place? Issei. It's near the temple room, so when we finish training there, we'll come and rest here. Kureto. It's okay. Time jump. Present day. Issei and Kureto were arranging the furniture while chatting. Kureto. And what happened when you saw that room with the name Issei on the walls and those dolls with lipstick? Issei. I faced it like a man. Greg. He actually shit himself in fear. The dragon said mockingly, making Kureto laugh. Issei. Drake, nobody asked for your opinion. He said annoyed. Greg. I tell it like it is. Kureto. Issei, I'm done. Issei. Me too. He said to see his work. Kureto. I'm hungry. Issei. Me too. I saw a new restaurant a few blocks from here, what do you think if we go eat there? Kureto. Yes. Issei. Let's go. That was the only thing he said before grabbing his keys and leaving. Time jump. Issei and Kureto entered a somewhat simple place, and it was empty. Both did not give it importance and sat at a table to then be served by a white-haired girl. Good evening, my name is Yanami, what do you want to order? He said politely. Imagine her without her ears for the moment. Issei. It's a pleasure and we would like to order the best you have for each one. Yanami. Okay, I'll bring them to you in a moment. Leaving. Kureto. Did you feel it? Issei. Yes, she is a yokai, and there are also more presences like hers. They must be the owners. Kureto. Yes, you're right. A few minutes passed and the girl brought them what they asked for. Yanami. I hope you like it. He said with a smile and then left. Kureto. I'm surprised you didn't order everything they had. Issei. I'm not very hungry. He said to start eating and was very surprised by the taste of the food. Issei. This is delicious. He said and surprised me. Kureto started eating to look like Issei. Kureto. True, this is delicious. Time jump. Issei and Kureto had already finished eating and began to chat until they felt the presence of demons entering the place and saw that indeed some demons with the appearance of gang members were entering the place. The girl who was present became alarmed and went to the owner's office. Issei and Kureto were motionless to see what they were doing. The girl came back with a white-haired guy who looked like Yanami. The leader of the demons spoke. I hope you have the money you owe me or you know what will happen. Hi. Please wait a few more days and you will have what I owe you, Saivo-sama. Saivo. No, I've waited too long and it's time for you to pay me. Then that he sees Yanami. Saivo. Or you can give me your sister and that's it. Hi. No. I won't let my sister stay with someone like you. Saivo. It doesn't matter, I'll kill you anyway and make your sister mine. Hi. It will be over my dead body. He said to get into a fighting stance. Issei and Kureto felt that this demon was more powerful than the white-haired one, so Issei decided to act. Issei. Hey. He said so that those who were arguing would fix their gaze on the Saivo. Wow, there's a human trying to be a hero. Issei. If you don't leave now you regret it. Saivo. Haha, a dirty human tries to challenge me. Issei. I won't say it again. Get out of here. Saivo. Kill him. He told his followers to then go and attack him. Issei. I warned you. He said to stretch out his hand and say a word. Issei. Hakai. It was the only thing he said to see how the demons disappeared while screaming in agony under the astonished gaze of everyone. Issei. Now you follow. Seeing Saivo, who was terrified. Saivo. I'll do whatever you want but don't kill me. He said terrified. Issei. Fine, I'll let you go, but don't come back here or you'll go through something worse. He said with a voice from beyond the grave. Saivo. I swear I won't come back. He said, full of fear and with something wet in his pants. Issei. Then get out of here. He said so the demon would go change his pants. Inami. Thank you very much sir. Issei. Tell me Issei. He said with a pure Goku-style smile making the girl blush. Hi. Nice to meet you, my name is Shido and thank you very much for what you did. Issei. The pleasure is mine and you're welcome. Hi. And who is the young man accompanying you? Karedo. Nice to meet you, my name is Karedo. He said bowing. Issei. Well, it's time for us to go. Inami. Are you leaving so soon? Issei. If you want, we can come tomorrow. Inami. We will eagerly await you and as a thank you we will invite you to eat. He said happily. Issei. Thank you. He said just as happy. Issei. See you soon. He said to retire with Karedo. Karedo. And what will we do? Issei. I'll ask you a question. Karedo. Which? Issei. Wouldn't you like to be a Saiyan? He said surprising Karedo. Karedo. Is that possible? Issei. Yep. Karedo. Yes, I want to be as strong as you. He said excitedly. Issei. Okay, but first you have to master Kai perfectly. Karedo. I will do my best. Chapter 9. Explanations. The day after what happened in that place, you could see a black-haired man and a brown-haired man training in the time room. You could see shock waves resonating throughout the place. Issei. Well Karedo, you just need a little more to master it 15%. Issei said happily with the boy's progress. Karedo. It's very difficult, I don't understand how you are so dominant. He said tiredly. Issei. In fact, he only mastered it 20%. The Kaioken is a powerful but also dangerous technique. He said confusing the brown-haired man. Karedo, and why? Issei. The Kaioken increases your abilities to the extent that your body can resist, but if you exceed that limit without having strengthened your body, you can receive irreparable damage and in the worst case you die. He said something serious. Karedo. Does that mean that if I don't strengthen my body and increase the Kaioken more than my body can withstand, I could die? I asked somewhat scared. Issei. Yes, but only in the worst case scenario, but the normal thing would be that you receive irreparable damage. But well, it would be better if we left it. That's it for today. He said and then left the time room followed by Karedo. Karedo. When you cover me in a Saiyan? I asked impatiently as I wanted to know what it felt like to be a Saiyan. Issei. After we go to Yanami and Shido's. Karedo. But there is still time to go. He said lazily. Issei. Don't be lazy, besides, you probably wouldn't want to try their delicious food again. Karedo. You're right. He said something excited about eating that delicious food that had become his favorite again. Issei. We'll also go to rest for a while at our old house. Karedo. It's okay. It was the only thing he said to start flying next to Issei where his old house was. With Issei's ex-friends. The girl could be seen in her room hugging the red shirt that Issei was wearing while smelling it. Rias. I'm not going to let you leave my side, you will love me and if you don't I will force you to do it and we will be together as it always should have been. During that time Rias no longer had that affectionate love that she had towards Issei, but rather developed an obsessive and unhealthy love and it wasn't just her, but the entire ex-harem of Issei developed the same for him. Eyes. The black-haired man and a brunette could be seen going to the place they saved the day before. Karedo. Issei, before you turn me into a Saiyan, can you tell me how to transform into a Super Saiyan? Issei. There are two ways. Karedo. What are they? Issei. One is getting very angry. Karedo, and the other. Issei. Accumulating Kai in the middle of the back and expelling it with a blow. Karedo. And which is more effective? Issei. The first one, although in your case it would be the second one since I don't think there is anything that makes you angry to that point. He said something thoughtfully. Karedo. And which one did you use? Issei. The first. Karedo. What made you so angry? Issei. I'll tell you later since we've already arrived. He said entering the place being received by Yanami and Shido, but something that Karedo could notice was that Yanami was very happy to see Issei. This brought a smile to his face, as well as to Drake who saw the whole scene and thought. Drake. I hope you conquer him so my partner can be happy. Dragon Penso. Yanami. It's a pleasure to see you again. He said with a smile. Shido. Come sit down, the food will be ready in a few minutes. He said to guide both boys to a table. Yanami. Our younger sister will come in a moment, she will also accompany us. Issei. Why didn't we see her yesterday? Shido. It's because she wasn't there. We imitated her because she wanted to come and we had no other choice. Issei. And his parents. Inami. They died a year ago. He said something sad. Issei. I'm sorry I asked that. Inami, no te preoccupes Issei-kun. He said to see a girl of about 14 to 15 years old with dark pink hair and a good body coming. Wani nas, Ani-sen I'm here. He said holding a tray. The food and put it on the table. Inami. Oh Mikuri you arrived just in time to introduce yourself to our guests. He said with a cheerful smile. Mikuri. Nice to meet you, my name is Mikuri, it's a pleasure. He said bowing. Issei. Nice to meet you, my name is Issei. Kuredo. Nice to meet you, my name is Kuredo. He said with a smile that made the girl blush slightly. Inami. Okay Mikuri, sit down. He said for his sister to sit down. Time jump. After they ate they were chatting happily until Shido asked something that made Issei tense. Shido. Hey Issei, can I ask you a question? Issei. Of course. Shido. What are you, because no human can do what you did yesterday. That question made Issei tense up. Issei. Well, it's complicated. Kuredo whispering. Tell them or they won't trust you. Issei, good. He said so that everyone would pay attention to him. Issei. The race I'm from is called Saiyan. This caused more confusion among those present except for Kuredo. Mikuri. And what is a Saiyan? Issei. The Saiyans were a warrior race dedicated to the conquest and sale of planets. That surprised everyone except Kuredo, but something in what Issei said confused them. Shido. Were they? Issei. They were a warrior race until a tyrant named Frieza betrayed the Saiyans by exterminating their planet with every living being on it. Mikuri. But how are you here? Issei. That's because I wasn't a Saiyan until 2 years ago. Shido. What do you mean? Issei. I am the reincarnation of one who could escape, but not just anyone, but the only Saiyan who could surpass the gods of destruction. Son Goku. That surprised those present even more, except for Kuredo because he already knew all that. Mikuri and Kuredo who is also a Saiyajin. Issei. No, but I'm going to turn it into one. Shido. Can that be done? Issei. Yes, but it only works with humans. My teacher discovered that it could be done, but he didn't find anyone worthy for him to convert. Inami. Amazing. Shido. But what was the reason you became a Saiyan? Issei. Good. After saying that he told them about the betrayal of the factions, his ex-harem, his friends and even his parents. Everyone was furious, even Kuredo since he didn't know that, but they calmed down when he told them about the training, about Goku and his power. Shido. So that power we felt 2 weeks ago was yours. He said very surprised. Issei, sip. Inami. You are amazing Issei-kun. He said they are little stars in the eyes. Issei. Well thanks I guess. He said blushing for something. Shido. Issei, I have a question. Issei. Which one? Shido. Will you forgive those girls? After saying that there was silence, but then loud laughter was heard. Issei. Ha 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 of course not. Kuredo. Ha 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 yes how if those things will happen. Inami. Issei-kun, do you study at university? Issei. Yes, why? Inami. Well, could we go together? I ask very blushing. Issei. Of course, why not? He said with a smile. Inami. Genius. He said jumping for joy that made everyone sweat in I'm style. Issei. Well, I think it's time for us to go. Inami. See you tomorrow, Issei-kun. Issei. Sure. See you tomorrow, Yanami-chan. Mikuri, bye Kuredo 1. Kuredo, goodbye Mikuri-chan. He said for both boys to leave the premises. Issei. Is Kuredo ready? Kuredo, for what? Issei. To be a Saiyajin. Kuredo. Yes. I'm skip Issei and Kuredo department. Issei. Alright, Kuredo, give me your hand. He said creating a Kai sword. Kuredo. What is that Kai sword for? He said with fear. Issei. Don't be scared, it's part of this. Kuredo. Good. He said extending his hand so that Issei would then cut his palm. Kuredo. But what? He couldn't finish when he saw that Issei did the same to himself. Issei. Okay, now open your hand. He said that the brown-haired boy would do the thing and that Issei would spill his blood on Kuredo's hand, thus mixing Issei's blood with Kuredo's. Issei. Yes this. He said to start bandaging his hand. Kuredo. Was that all? Issei. Yes, look at your hand. He said so that the brown-haired man could look at his hand and see how the wound was healed. Kuredo. But I don't feel anything different. Issei. My blood will not act instantly, you just have to sleep so that the Saiyan blood expands and gets used to your body. Go to sleep, tomorrow you have to go to the academy. Kuredo. Okay until tomorrow. He said going to his room. Issei, until tomorrow Kuredo. He said doing the same. Chapter 10. A new friend. After Issei turned Kuredo into a Saiyan, they went to sleep. The next day. Kuredo was waking up. "Kuredo, the lift." He said sleepily. Issei. "Kuredo, get up now. You'll be late for the academy." He said from the kitchen. "Kuredo, I will." He said and then went to take a bath and change into his uniform and then went down to the kitchen and then sat at the table. Issei. "Toma." He said to put breakfast on the table and then sit down. Only an awkward silence could be heard. Issei. "Good morning by the way." He said something annoying. Kuredo. "Now why are you upset?" Issei. "From what you're wearing, I don't understand why you transferred to Kuho Academy." He said annoyed. Kuredo. "Well there the level of learning is higher." Issei. "Well, you're right about that." Finished eating. Kuredo. "Is there more?" Issei. "Yes 4." He couldn't finish as he saw Kuredo leave a mountain of plates. Issei thinking. "I think he's already a Saiyan." Kuredo. "It was delicious." He said with a satisfied smile. Issei. "Well, you should go now to go to the academy." Kuredo. "Well, see you." He said grabbing his backpack and going out the door. Issei. "Well, I have to go too." He said to look at the clock and turn blue. Issei. "Damn, Yanami must be waiting for me." After saying that he grabbed his things and left in his teleportation. But Kuredo. This one was walking thinking. Kuredo. "I'm already a Saiyan, it's amazing although I didn't feel anything at first now I can feel that I can become stronger. That's when I bump into a girl." Kuredo. "Sorry, I was distracted." He couldn't finish when he saw who it was. Kuredo. "Mikuri-chan." Mikuri, "Hello Kuredo-kun." She said so Kuredo will help her up. Kuredo. "Sorry for bumping into you, I was distracted." Mikuri. "I was distracted too." Kuredo. "Well from what I can see you're going to Kuho Academy." Mikuri. "And from what I see you too." She said something nervous. Kuredo. "Well, it seems to you if we go together." Mikuri. "Okay, let's go." He said with a smile that made Kuredo blush. Kuredo. "Let's go." He said to go to the academy. Issei-san. This one was with Yanami going to college. Issei. "And how are you and your brothers doing?" Yanami. "Since you drove away the demons, business has improved although it is difficult since we never had so many customers." Issei. "What do you think if Kuredo and I work with you?" Yanami. "I would like to but we don't want to bother you." Issei. "It wouldn't be a bother, in fact I insist." Yanami. "Then I'll tell my brother so you can go." Issei. "Bien." Yanami. "And how did it go with the factions?" Issei. "Well, they're not bothering me anymore but the Gremory clan girls are looking for where I live now." He said with some fear. Yanami. "It seems you went from hating them to being afraid of them." Issei. "What can I say who isn't terrified by those things?" Yanami. "Well, we're here." Hence the day normal step for Issei. But for Kuredo. Academia Kuo. Kuredo. "My name is Kuredo I hope we get along." He said with a smile that made the boys angry and the girls blush. Teacher. "Well, do you have any questions for the new one?" Girl 1. "Do you have a girlfriend?" Kuredo. No I don't have." Girl 2. "Do you want to have?" Kuredo. "I'm not interested at the moment." He said politely. Master. Well, Kuredo takes a seat next to Mikuri. He said that in Chestnut he should do what the during the break. The chestnut tree could be seen sitting in a tree. Everything was calm until he saw 2 boys hitting a skinny boy with glasses who looked like the typical school nerd. Kuredo. Why do they always mistreat those kinds of kids? He wondered watching the scene. Kuredo. Well, it would be better to intervene. He said to get up and go towards them. Kuredo, Oigan Yusweltenlo. Boy 1. Apparently there's another one who wants to be beaten up. He said looking at the brown-haired man. Boy 2. I'm tired of this nerd, let's go beat up that other idiot. He said to leave the boy hitting to go with the brown. Kuredo. I wouldn't advise you to do that, it could go wrong. He said watching as the 2 boys approached. Boy 1. You think you're very brave. Boy 2. Do you think you can beat us? Kuredo. No I don't think so I'm sure. He said with some arrogance. Boy 2. We'll give you what you deserve. He said to throw a punch that was easily stopped. This surprised everyone who saw the scene, especially the boy who tried to hit him. Boy 2. It was just luck but this time you won't be able to stop the next one. Kuredo. What makes you so sure of that? At that the boy throws a punch, but. Kuredo. I'm tired of you. Then he hits each of them in the stomach, knocking the wind out of them and leaving them unconscious. This surprised everyone watching the fight. Girl 1. He beat them in one hit. She said surprised. Girl too. Besides being cute, he's tough, I like that. She said blushing. Kuredo would not take the words seriously and would go to the boy who was still on the ground. Kuredo. Are you okay? He said giving him his hand to help him up. Issei. Kuredo. What is your name? My name is Jake. Kuredo. Well Jake, which classroom are you going to? Jake. Well, I'm going to room 1B. Kuredo. Oh, I'm going to that room, why didn't I see you? Jake. It's just that I'm always hidden in my seat so that the new ones don't see me. Kuredo, and why? Jake. It's just that some new arrivals see me as if I were next. Kuredo. The next one that? Jake. The next one to be abused. He said sadly. Kuredo. And why don't you defend yourself? Jake. I don't know how to fight. Kuredo. Well, if you think so, I'll teach you. Jake. Would you really do it? Kuredo. See. Jake. It's just that I can't learn to fight. Kuredo. If you are a genius in study, you can be one in combat. Jake. Thanks. Kuredo. Don't worry, now that you stand up we'll go to lunch. Jake. Okay. He said to go with Kuredo. Chapter 11. An Issei and a Kuredo could be seen walking towards their house. Issei. And how did it go? Kuredo. Well, I became friends with a boy who was being abused. Issei. And what is his name? Kuredo. His name is Jake and he is a very smart boy and I told him that I would teach him how to fight. Issei. Okay. But they didn't realize a horde of girls were watching them. Rias whispered. Just follow him home and we can go when he's not there. Bekeno. Ara would like to give it to me right now. He said licking his lips. Hineko. But I must admit that her partner doesn't look bad. What the hell, first with Issei and then with poor Kuredo, but what the hell happens to them, let's continue. They were like that all the way home, but when they were close. Rias tripped. Bekeno. Rias, you already showed us. So Issei realized that he was being followed and teleported home. Issei. That was close but I feel like I forgot something. He said thinking. Elsewhere. Rias. Come and tell us where they live. He said, cornering a certain chestnut tree. Hineko. If you tell us, I'll give you a reward. Bekeno. If you don't tell us, I'll have a lot of fun with you. He said emanating rays that made Kuredo blue. Kuredo. I'll never tell you where we live. He said with fear and blue. Zenovia. We warned you. In Issei's house. Issei continued thinking like a fool while his poor disciple and brother was being tortured in an alley. Issei. Kuredo. Issei put 2 fingers on his forehead but the door to his house suddenly opened. Issei, Kuredo, but what about you? He said seeing a Kuredo all burned, beaten and with scratches, but what surprised him the most was seeing a hickey on the neck of the poor brown-haired man. Kuredo, trembling. Your crazy horde of girls cornered me in the corner of an alley and did what you see to me, not to mention where we live. He said, trembling more with fear at remembering his torment. Issei. And who gave you that hickey? Kuredo. The white-haired girl made it for me and said it was cute. Issei. What's up? Kuredo. I'd better go take a bath. He said to go to the bathroom still shaking. Kuredo, muttering. I don't know if I can sleep today. Issei thinking. First with me and now with poor Kuredo, but what's wrong with him? As he headed to his room. The next day. The Kuredo could be seen walking to the academy remembering what Sita Nekomata told him. Kuredo. What did you mean? He said touching the mark on his neck. Kuredo. That hurt a little. But he didn't realize that the one who did that to him was stalking him. Hineko. Issei-senpai doesn't want to know anything about us anymore, so whoever gives me my kittens will be his friend. He said following Kuredo but got very upset when he saw girl talking to him. Mikuri, hello Kuredo-kun. Kuredo. Hello Mikuri-chan. He said with a smile. Mikuri. Are we going to the academy together? Kuredo. Of course. He said to head to the academy with Mikuri being watched by Kaneko. Kaneko. So your name is Kuredo, right? Well, I have to go too. He said to go to the academy. Note. Kaneko is still attending Kuo Academy, she is in her 3rd year of high school. End of note. From then on, everything was normal for Kuredo, except that he didn't realize that a certain obsessive Nekomata was spying on him. Chapter 12. The Kuredo could be seen sitting under a tree next to Jake and Mikuri talking about trivial things. Kuredo. By the way Jake, I'll pick you up tomorrow at 5 in the morning. Jake. Okay, and once again, thanks for offering to teach me how to fight. Kuredo. Not only will I teach you how to fight, but you will also increase your strength in a short time. Jake. And how will we do that? I asked confused. Kuredo. You'll see, just wait. He said with mystery. Mikuri, Kuredo-kun, could you teach me too? Kuredo. Sure, then I'll go pick them up tomorrow morning. Mikuri Jake. It's okay. This is how the normal day went for the three of them. Time jump. Issei and Kuredo can be seen in an alley. Kuredo. What are we doing here? Issei takes him by the shoulder and they teleport to his house. Kuredo. Aoki. Issei. I have to tell you something. Kuredo. What thing? Issei. I feel an evil Kai coming this way. Kuredo, and what will we? Issei. We'll go to the time room to train for a week. Kuredo, okay, and when do we leave? Tomorrow at 4 in the morning. Kuredo, but I'll teach Jake and Mikuri the Kai. Issei. Take them. Kuredo, that. Issei. Anyway, they will also have to fight. Kuredo. Okay, then I'll go look for him now, he said to leave. Issei thinking. My master told me you would come, but I didn't know you would do it so soon. We will be ready for your arrival, and we will kill you. With Kuredo. This was flying age at Jake's house. Kuredo. Since Jake lives alone, there won't be a problem. He said as he landed at Jake's door and proceeded to knock on the door. And it is opened by Jake. Jake. Kuredo, I thought you were coming tomorrow. Kuredo. Change of plans, we'll go at 4 in the morning, and if there's no time to come, I suggest you go sleep at my house. Jake. Okay, but what will happen to Mikuri? Kuredo. We'll take her too, so get ready. Jake. Okay. 5 minutes later. Jake was going to Mikuri's house with Kuredo. Jake. Kuredo, why did you change your mind? Kuredo. I'll explain when we're at my house. He said to knock on the door of Mikuri's house. For Yanami to open. Yanami. Oh Kuredo-kun, what are you doing here? Kuredo. Well, we came to see Mikuri-chan. Yanami. I'll call her in the meantime. He said so Kuredo and Jake will come and sit on a sofa. Jake. Can you tell me what's going on? Kuredo. Well, before I tell you, do you believe in the supernatural? Jake. Yes. Kuredo. Okay, that makes things easier for me. So he would tell Jake everything Issei told him. Jake was in shock, but he could barely assimilate it. Kuredo. Now you understand. Jake. Yes. Kuredo. Okay, but remember, you don't have to let anyone see you using your powers, especially supernatural beings. Jake. Why? Kuredo. Because they will want to recruit you and what they want is power for their faction. Jake. I understand. Then they saw Mikuri with Yanami. Mikuri, hello Kuredo-kun Jake. Kun. But he saw that they were serious. Mikuri, what's going on? Kuredo. Well, what happens is that. And that they tell him what Issei told him. Yanami. We understand, but what do we do? She said worriedly. Kuredo. When we go to my house we will tell them, as long as they hold on to me, he said to put his fingers on his forehead. At that Yanami and Jake take him by the shoulders, but Mikuri takes his hand. After that they teleport to Kuredo's house. Chapter 13. An Issei could be seen in front of the new arrivals. Issei. Wow, you took a while, but I never thought Yanami would come too. Yanami. Well, Kuredo-kun told us about the situation and I also wanted to help. Issei. Well, I'll prepare the rooms. But he was interrupted by a couple of girls. Yanami. I would like to sleep with you. She said, very blushing and causing Issei to blush slightly. Mikuri, and I would like to do sleep with Kuredo-kun. She said the same as her sister and made Kuredo blush a little. Issei. Okay, then I'll prepare the room for Jake. He said, withdrawing. Kuredo. Well, I'll go to sleep. Mikuri. I'll go with you too. They said to withdraw. Kuredo Mikuri, good night. Jake Yanami. Good night. Yanami. Can I ask you a question, Jake-kun? Jake. Sure. Yanami. Are you willing to risk your life for others? Jake. Yes. Humans will make mistakes, but they try to remedy them, not like supernatural beings. Also, sacrificing themselves for others. I like how human that sounds. Yanami. Kuredo-kun chooses his friends well. He said with a smile, but. Issei. I say the same. He said, scaring the two. Yanami. I almost died of a heart attack. Jake. Don't do that again. Issei. He's sorry. Jake, your room is ready. Jake. Thanks. Good night. Asia said as she walked to her room. Issei Yanami. Good night. They responded, remaining alone in the room. Issei. I'm surprised by that boy. Yanami. Why do you say that? Issei. That boy has great determination, he wants to fight for others and he doesn't care if he himself gets hurt. Yanami. Well, to be honest, I'm surprised too. Issei. And to think that boy was abused by others. But well, it would be better to go to sleep, we have to get up very early. Yanami. It's okay. Issei. Okay, let's go. It was the only thing he said before going to his room with Yanami. Guo City 4 a.m. A group of young people could be seen walking through the still dark city. Pareto. Why couldn't we teleport? He said sleepily and somewhat annoyed. Issei. Well, it's to warm up the legs a little since as soon as we enter the time room we will start training and there will be no time to warm up. Pareto. Good. Jake. And how far from here is this time room? He asked curiously. Issei. It's on the other side of the forest. Everyone except Issei and Pareto, Kui. Issei. Calm. Inami. But why so far? Issei. The time room was in Tokyo, but I teleported it here. Also, it has to remain hidden since the demons could destroy it. Inami. I see. Mikuri. And who is the one who comes to Earth? Issei. Well, the one who's coming is. But he was interrupted because he saw that the sun was rising. Issei. We wasted a lot of time walking. Hold on to me. Everyone listened and teleported away. When they arrived they saw a very old temple. Jake. Is this the time room? Issei. No, the time room is inside the temple. He said to enter the temple followed by everyone. Time jump. Jake. What's wrong? I see can't move. He said on the ground just like Yanami and Mikuri. Issei. In this place the gravity is greater than that of Earth. Yanami. Is that how they train? Pareto. One gets used to it. Mikuri, Kareto-kun can yo too. He said trying to stand up but fell to the ground. Issei, let's go, Mikuri said, if Kareto you can too. Pareto. Issei is right, I trained here before being a Saiyan. Jake. They're right. He said standing up slowly and with great difficulty. Jake. I did it. He said with joy. Issei. Very well Jake. Pareto. That's how it's done Jake. He said with a smile. Inami. I won't be left behind. He said standing with difficulty. Inami. Well I did it. He said standing. Mikuri. I won't be left behind either. He said trying to stand up. Pareto. Come on, if Yanami and Jake could, I don't see why you can't. He said encouraging Mikuri which she achieved and was able to stand up. Mikuri. I finally did it. He said with great joy. Pareto. Very well, that's how it's done Mikuri. He said with a smile that made Mikuri blush. Issei. Okay let's get started. I am too lazy to write everything in training, so I'll say what they did in summary. Per year 1 and 2. They trained physically. Every day was a routine. 500 push-ups. 500 sit-ups. 500 squats. And with the gravity they were under it seemed impossible, but Issei managed to convince them to do it. Per year 3, 4 and 5. They trained their Kai until they could master it perfectly. Per year 6 and 7. In recent years they have increased their resistance and speed. Apart from the fact that in year 6 Issei turned Jake into a Saiyan doing the same thing he did with Kareto, being able to transform into a Super Saiyan. Over time, Kareto was able to transform into Super Saiyan 1, 2 and 3, the latter he did not control well, since it consumes a lot of energy. When they came out of the time room they were very surprised. Jake. Amazing, I feel lighter. He said very surprised as well as Yanami and Mikuri. Kareto. I said the same thing when I trained in the time room for the first time. He said with relief and sighing. Inami. By the way Issei, when will that guy come? I asked curiously. Issei yo calculation that within 2 or 3 weeks. All. Witty. Pareto. And why did you make us train so fast? Issei. We have to be ready for everything even if it takes a month, we have to be as strong as possible. He said seriously. Mikuri. And who is coming? Pareto. Now that you ask, you never told us who was coming. Inami. It must be very strong for you to make us train so fast. Jake. You're right, so could you tell us who's coming? Issei sighed. Well the one who comes is Lama Frezer. Inami. The one who destroyed the planet of the Saiyans. I asked incredulously. Issei. Yes his powers increased since the last time Goku-sensei fought him and he will also come with an army. He said seriously. Pareto. I understand. Issei. Well, we should rest a little, so see you in 2 days. I think it will be enough to rest. All. Hi. Issei. See you. He said to teleport next to Kareto. Jake. Okay, I'm leaving too, bye. He said to fly home. Inami. Let's go too. Mercury, see. He said to fly away with his sister to his house. Chapter 14. Issei and Kareto could be seen walking through the park. Kareto. Why don't we train? Issei. Well it's okay to relax from time to time. Kareto. I think you're taking the situation too lightly. Issei. Why do you say that? I asked confused. Kareto. Well, instead of training we are walking in the park. It's not that it bothers me, but if we want to stay here, we must become stronger. Issei. I know, but you can't force your body too much or you could suffer irreparable damage like the Kaioken. Kuredo. Speaking of which, I have a question. Issei. And which one would it be? Kuredo. Ultra Instinct is a transformation. Issei. In fact it is a state. Kuredo. How is this the Kaioken? Issei. Something like that. Kuredo. So you can combine it with some transformation. That question left Issei thinking. He was so deep in his thoughts that he didn't see where he was going and collided with a girl, causing them both to fall. Oh, that hurt. Issei. Oh, sorry, I didn't pay attention where I was going. He said, standing up and offering his hand for the girl to get up. The girl blushed when she saw him, but since Issei is a jerk, she didn't notice. The girl accepted Issei's hand as he lifted her up. Thank you. Issei. Sorry for bumping into you, I just didn't notice because I was thinking. He said nervously, scratching his neck. Don't worry, I didn't pay attention to where I was going either. She said sadly. Issei. I'm Issei, by the way. My name is Mio Nerus. Correct me if I'm not writing wrong. Issei. A taste of Mio-san. Equally Issei-kun. He said with a bright smile. Mio? And who is he? I asked, pointing at Kuredo, who remained silent. Kuredo. My name is Kuredo, nice to meet you. He said with a small smile and bowing. Mio, same mind, Kuredo-kun. Issei. Well, I think it's time to go. Mio. Well, I hope we see each other again. He said with a smile. Issei. I hope so too, well, bye Mio-chan. That made Mio blush. Mio, adios Issei-kun. She said red as a tomato and then ran away. Issei. Okay, let's go. Kuredo. Oki. Issei. A career? I asked challengingly. Kuredo, adelante. He said the same way. So that both boys disappeared in a blur. Time jump. Issei and Kuredo could be seen sitting in the living room watching television. Issei. There's nothing to see. He said with much boredom, just like Kuredo. Kuredo. And what do we do? Before Issei could say anything, a knock-knock was heard. Issei. Who will it be? Kuredo. No see. Issei thinking. Let it not be the Boars, let it not be the Boars. He thought as he opened the door. Issei. Oh ho, hello Yanami-chan. He said looking at the aforementioned. Yanami. Hello, Issei-kun. He said with a smile. Issei. Come in. He said giving way to enter. Yanami. Thank you. He said entering and seeing Kuredo in the living room. Yanami. Hello, Kuredo-kun. Kuredo. Hello Yanami-san. Issei. And what are you doing here? Yanami. I came to see how you were. He said with a tender smile that made Issei blush. Issei. Well, since you're here, let's see if we can join you for dinner. Yanami. I don't want to be a bother. She said sadly. Issei. None of that, I made a lot of food and I insist. Yanami. It's okay. She said sadly and happily. Chapter 15. 3 young people are seen having dinner. Yanami. And what did you do today? She asked curiously. Issei. Well, we went for a walk and met a nice girl. Yanami. How good. He said with a fake smile, but inside he cursed that girl. Kuredo. Issei invited her to dinner. He said to feel the tense air and see Yanami with a dark aura of death. He then saw Issei, who gave him a look that said, you better fix this now, which made him nervous. Yanami, no mitigas Kuredo-kun. He said with a tender voice that promised pain. Kuredo. He invited her so that they could get to know each other better, since as she was planning to invite you and us, who went to tea train to the tea time room. He said blue with fear to see that Yanami calmed down and see an Issei who gave him a look that said you better. Yanami. You should have said it before. He said with a smile. Issei. Avoided a disaster. He thought with relief. Kuredo. Damn, I almost screwed up. He thought nervously. Yanami. And when is he coming? Issei. The truth is that we didn't agree on that. He said scratching his neck. Kuredo. But he gave you his number. He said carefree. Issei. I guess I can call her to coordinate. Do you want to come? He asked looking at the girl. Yanami. Yes, it sounds good. He said looking into his eyes. Issei. Then I'll call her to coordinate. He said taking out his cell phone and then dialing, but was interrupted because Yanami stopped him. Issei. Is there something wrong? He asked curiously. Yanami. Can you do it later? Issei. Why? He asked seeing how he was starting to get angry. Yanami. Because I said so. I screamed, making the poor kids hide under the table. Issei. What's wrong with you Yanami? I asked with fear. Inami. Sorry, but just do it later. He said with a smile. Issei. Oh okay, but don't do that again. He said, more relieved. Potato. Please. He said the same as Issei. Inami. Oki. He said with a tender voice. Issei. What a change of mood. He thought nervously. Potato. Don't buck with me, I almost shit myself in fright. I think the same as Issei. Inami. And what will they do now? Issei. I think we're going to sleep. He said seeing that it was already late. Issei. Yanami, what do you think about staying the night? It's getting very late. He said scratching his neck. Inami. It's okay. She said nervously. Issei. Then I'll go prepare the room for. I didn't finish because Yanami spoke. Inami. If you don't mind, we could sleep together. She said blushing. Issei. This is fine. He said nervously and blushing. Inami. Then I'll go to the bathroom for a moment. He said going to the bathroom leaving a blushing Issei. Pareto. Ooh Issei has a girlfriend, he has a girlfriend and he has to wear a slipper. He said in a song. But he didn't count on Issei hitting him on the head. Issei. Shut up. He said annoyed. Pareto. Hey okay, I think I'll go to sleep so good night. He said going to his room. Issei. Good night Pareto. He said as he watched her walk away. Inami. I'm back, are we leaving? Issei. Okay, let's go. He said going with Yanami to his room. Chapter 16. The next day. An Issei is seen having breakfast with Yanami and Pareto. Issei. And what are you planning to do today? I asked curiously. Yanami. Well, I was planning to stay here for today, if you don't mind. She said sadly. Issei. You can stay as long as you want. He said with a smile. Yanami. Thank you. He said with a tender smile. Issei, and you heal. Pareto. I don't know, I didn't plan anything today, but I guess I'll go for a walk. He said calmly, taking a sip of his tea. Pareto. If I could be eating a mountain of food, why am I drinking tea? Asked. Issei. No, if you say so. He said eating a big piece of meat. At that Pareto tries to lift a piece of meat, but Issei hits his hand. Pareto. Ouch. Why did you do that? He asked, rubbing his hand. Issei. I made for you too, just go to the kitchen. He said to eat more meat. Inami. By the way, Pareto-kun, Mikuri called me this morning and asked if we could meet today at the park at 3 p.m. Pareto. Sure, I'll go without fail. He said with a smile. Inami. Okay, I'll go call her. He said to go to Issei's room where his cell phone is, leaving both boys alone. Issei. Ooh Pareto has new. Pareto, you don't care. He said seeing him. Issei. Well, owner, don't get angry he said scratching his neck. Then Yanami returns. Inami. I already told him and he says he will gladly wait for you. Pareto. Okay, I'll go take a bath and get ready. He said, leaving the place. Inami. Both have things in common. He said I'm selling it to the place where the chestnut tree went. Issei. I think the same. He said looking in the same direction. Inami. What do you think if we do the same? She asked blushing. Issei. Are you serious? I asked blushing. Inami. Yes. She said more red. Issei. Okay. Odd was nervous. Inami. How good. He said hugging Issei. Realizing what he did he immediately pulled away and blushed. Inami. Sorry. She said nervously and red as a tomato. Issei. No hey problema. He said scratching his neck. Inami. I'll go take a bath. He said to run to the bathroom. Issei. He didn't say anything and went to his room's bathroom to get ready. Time skip. Issei and Yanami are seen walking through the park. Issei. What do you want to do now? He asked curiously. Yanami. Let's go to the mall. He said pulling Issei in the direction of the mall. When they arrived, Yanami immediately went to try on clothes, pulling Issei along. After trying on clothes they went to eat. Then they went to play on consoles in which Yanami beat Issei in almost everything, who then went to war with a depressive aura. Then they went to the park where they sat on a bench. Yanami. I had a lot of fun today Issei-kun. He said in a cheerful tone. Issei. Me too. He said looking Yanami in the eyes. And that they are bringing their faces closer. When they were about to join their lips a voice stopped them. Mine. Hello, Issei-kun. He said with a smile. Issei. Hello Mai. He said nervously. Yanami. Who is this? She thought angrily. Chapter 17. Yanami. Who is this? She thought angrily. Issei. How have you been? He asked with a smile. Mine. Good, and you? Issei. Same. He said with a smile, but remembered he was with Yanami. Issei. Yanami, she is the girl that me and Kareto met, Mio and Mio, she is Yanami. He said, introducing them. Mine. A pleasure, Yanami. He said with a smile. Yanami. Likewise, I hope we get along. He said with a fake smile. Issei. By the way, Mio was going to call you to invite you to dinner at my house, of course, if you don't mind. He said, scratching his neck. Mine. Sure, when will it be? I asked curiously. Issei. What do you want to see tonight at 8 p.m? I nervously ask what color I have time for. Mine. It seems fine to me. He said, calming Issei down. Issei. Okay, then I'll see you tonight, and this is my address. He said, giving him a paper. Mio. I will go without fail. He said with a smile. Issei. Well, we have to go now, so, see you. He said, turning around to leave. Mio, adios Issei-kun, Yanami-san. He said and then left. Yanami. Let's go. He said and then went to the department. Issei, good. He said, standing next to her. Time skip. Everyone is seen gathered in Issei's apartment. Kareto. Issei, do you think he'll make it? I asked curiously. Issei. I hope so. He said while watching TV. Yanami. I hope not. She thought jealously. Jake. Kareto, I challenge you to a duel. He said, slapping Kareto with a rubber glove. Kareto, ouch. That's it. He said, annoyed, rubbing his cheek. Jake. Do you accept or not? He said, still with the glove on his hand. Kareto, I agree, but. Then he takes Jake's glove off and slaps him with it. Kareto. Don't do it again. He said and then threw down the gauntlet. Jake. Okay, but don't get angry. He said, rubbing his cheek. Kareto, well, don't make me angry. All this was watched by everyone with a drop of an anime-style sweat. Mikuri. Those two don't change. He thought with a sigh of tiredness. But then you hear a knock on the door. Issei. Who could it be? Yanami. No, see. Issei. Okay, I'll go. He said, heading for the door, but what he said last time was repeated. Issei. Don't let them be bores, don't let them be bores. He said in whispers, but when he opened the door he was relieved. Issei. Hello, Mio-chan. He said, looking at the aforementioned. Mine. Hello, Issei-kun. She said, blushing at what he told her. Issei, pasa. He said, giving way. Mine. Thank you. He said, entering. Mine. A pleasure, my name is Mine Nares, a pleasure. He said, introducing himself. At that Mikuri approaches. Mikuri. Nice to meet you, my name is Mikuri, Yanami's sister. He said with a smile. Mine. Nice to meet you, I hope we get along. He said, friendly. Aniso Jake Siyun. Jake. I'm Jake, nice to meet you. Introducing yourself. Mine. A pleasure, Jake-kun. He said with a smile. Mine. Hello, Kareto-kun, it's good to see you again. He said, watching as Kareto approaches. Kareto. I say the same. He said with a small smile. Issei. Well, since you know Mio-chan, it's time to eat. All. Hi. They said in unison. Time skip. Everyone is seen on the couch watching a movie after eating. At that Issei stands up with a serious look. Issei. Kareto. He said, calling the attention of this. Kareto. What's up? He asked curiously. I need to talk to you alone. He said seriously. Kareto, bien. He said to get up and go with Issei to the kitchen, closing the door of this. Kareto. What do you want to talk about? He asked curiously. Issei. This fence. He said seriously. Kareto. Who? He asked with intrigue. Issei. Frezer. That left Kareto surprised. Kareto, es una broma cierto? He asked in surprise. Issei. No, it's not a joke. He said seriously. Kareto. And how long do you estimate? He said seriously. Issei. He came very early, so I estimate a week. He said seriously. Kareto. Did he get so far ahead? He asked, more surprised. Issei. Yes, so tomorrow we will get up to train. He said seriously. Kareto. I'll tell the others, but what are you doing with Mio? He asked curiously. Issei. I'll tell him too. He said seriously. Kareto. Why? I asked with intrigue. Issei. I would like you to help us. He said with a small smile. Kareto. And how do you think he'll take it? Issei. I don't know, but I hope it's okay. He said seriously. Kareto. Well, we'll tell them later. He said, coming out of the kitchen. Issei, bien. He said, doing the same as Kareto. Chapter 18. 2 days later. Issei and Kuredo are seen with the others waiting for someone. Kuredo, Issei, I honestly don't think it's coming. He said seeing the aforementioned. Issei. I think so, I feel his kai and he's getting closer. He said with a smile. Kuredo. Well, as long as it doesn't take long, it's fine. He said seriously. A few minutes later. You hear a knock on the door. Issei. I'm going. He said going to open the door. Issei. Hola. He said with the typical smile. Mine. Hello. She said blushing from the smile. But they didn't realize that a certain white-haired girl was jealous of the scene. Issei, pasa. He said giving way. Mine. Thank you. He said entering. Leo. Hello everyone. He said seeing everyone gathered. Everyone Yanami. Hello mine. They said in unison. Yanami. Hello. He said dryly and coldly. Issei. Well, since we're all here, let's go train. All. Hi. Time skip. You see a blank space that seemed to have no end. But then a tremor is felt in the place and shock waves are seen in the air that are becoming faster and faster. The causers of this were a black-haired man and a brunette, and when you look closely you can see that the black-haired man has the advantage. Issei. What's up Kuredo, I assure you I've become slower. He said stopping a blow from the aforementioned. Kuredo. I hate to admit it, but you're right. He said with a frown. Issei. Well, I think we should go down, they should be ready now. He said starting to defend the ground. Kuredo. Good. That was the only thing he said and then did the same as Issei. Once they reached the ground they headed to the temple which was the only thing in the blank dimension. When they arrived they saw a group of young people waiting for them inside the temple. Issei. Okay, are you ready? All. Hi. Issei. Just let me tell you that we will find out all week that it would be like 7 years here. He said seriously. Mine. 7 years. I can't be here that long. She said worriedly. Issei. Don't worry, 7 years will pass here while 7 days will pass outside. He said calmly. Mine. How good. He said in a sigh calming down. Issei. Well, this training will be more rigorous than the previous one, so do your best. He said with a smile. All. Hi. I'm too lazy to write the whole training, so I'll summarize it. Year 1 to 2. They trained in hand-to-hand combat and in each other's strength. Year 3 to 4. They trained in speed and agility. Year 5 to 6. They trained their endurance and mind. Year 7. They tested all the progress with a free-for-all fight. Throughout the time Issei trained Mio and taught him how to use Kai, making him control it perfectly. They also trained Kuredo and Jake. Kuredo can now transform into Super Saiyan God in blue, but the latter can only maintain it for 10 minutes, and Jake can transform into Super Saiyan God. And just like Mio, Yanami and Mikuri, they control Kai perfectly, and Issei taught them some techniques like the Kienzan. I don't know if that's how it's written, but if it's wrong, please correct me. Once the training was over they left the time room and noticed that it was night. Jake. We got really strong this last week. He said something excited. Kuredo. You're right. He said the same as Jake. Issei. Well, what do you think if you go sleep at our house today since that bastard will come tomorrow? He said seriously. Mine. Is it really as powerful as you say Issei-kun? She asked somewhat nervously. Issei. That's right, he's so powerful that in his weakest state, he destroyed the Saiyan planet with a single finger. He said seriously. Kuredo. Well, let's go now. He said starting to rise. Issei. Kuredo is right, it's too late. He said, starting to fly away, followed by the others. Meanwhile in the more specific space on a ship. A small being can be seen looking out the window of the ship. At that moment, a window opens, revealing a soldier who approached the small being and kneeled before him. Soldier. Mr. Freezer, the propellants began to fail, I fear it will take us another day to reach planet Earth. He said with respect. Freezer. JMMP. Well that's a shame, it seems my revenge will have to wait one more day, retire, and I hope that engine is ready as soon as possible. He said without seeing him. Soldier, as you ordered sir. He said standing up and leaving the room. Freezer. One more day will not affect, it will only delay the inevitable, I could not kill you, but I will kill your reincarnation and destroy the planet in which you grew up, so my revenge will be done. He thought with a macabre smile as he left there. Chapter 19. Issei and the others are seen leaving the time room. They were all in their clothes torn and dirty from training. Issei. How strange, Frieza's ship stopped, I guess something must have happened. He thought seriously, squeezing a little on a box he was carrying, but he felt someone touch his shoulder. That person was Yanami who looked somewhat worried. Yanami. Is something wrong? He asked seeing him. Issei. Freezer's ship stopped. He said something serious. Pareto, no te pares raro. He asked seriously. Issei. To be honest, if I find it strange, maybe I'm planning something. He said seriously. Makuri. By the way, what's in that box? He asked looking at the box that Issei had. Issei. I found it under the bed I was sleeping in. I also found a note from Goku-sensei. Jake. And what did he say? He asked curiously. Issei. I said to open it when necessary, it must be something that helps me in a fight. He said looking at the box. Mine. Can we open it? He asked approaching him making Yanami jealous. Issei. Maybe afterward, it would be best to leave. He said turning around and heading towards his house. Pareto. Well, goodbye. He said goodbye and do the same as Issei. And so everyone went to their respective homes. Hours later. Issei and Pareto are seen having an arm wrestling match. Pareto. I won't let myself be defeated. He said applying more force. Issei. I want to see that. He said as if nothing had happened. Pareto. You'll see. He said transforming into Super Saiyan. Issei. Oops. That's cheating. He said transforming and winning anyway, but he didn't measure his strength and broke the table with Kurato's hand, falling with the table. Issei. Oh, I think I went too far he said scratching his neck. Pareto. Hey, that's not fair. He said getting up from the ground. Issei. I should say that, remember that before doing this we agreed not to transform. He said something annoying. Pareto. I can't argue anything with that logic, well, it doesn't matter anymore. He said heading to the door. Issei. Hey, where are you going? He asked in surprise. Pareto. I'm going for a walk. He said leaving. Time skip. Pareto was walking through the city watching people coming and going from everywhere. Pareto. This is boring, there's nothing to do. He said with a bored face. But he didn't realize that a white-haired girl was watching him. Kaneko. I can't wait to make you mine Kareto-kun, I can already feel it. She said very red, with heart-shaped eyes and shedding some tears. Let's see if you can guess where it's from. With Kareto. This one was still walking bored. At that he feels a chill and as if his instincts tell him to run as fast as he can. Kareto. What the hell was that? Well, I'd better go. He said nervously, starting to run as fast as he could to an alley. As soon as he arrived he noticed that there was no one around. When he saw that there was no one there he teleported to his house. When he arrived he saw that Issei was playing a video game. Issei. How did it go? He asked without seeing him. Pareto. No, nothing interesting. He lied something that Issei noticed. Issei. Well, I remind you that it's your turn to make dinner. He said finishing and playing. The chestnut tree only gave a sigh of tiredness. Pareto. Well, I'll go wash my hands. He said heading to the bathroom. Time skip. The black-haired man and a brown-haired man are seen devouring many dishes, as if they were animals. Issei. It was delicious. He said patting his belly. Pareto. Thanks I guess. He said finishing eating. Issei. Can I ask you a question? He asked seriously. Pareto. What thing? He asked somewhat nervously. Issei. Tell me what really happened to you when you left. I asked seriously. Pareto was nervous since Issei realized that he lied and cursed himself. Pareto. Well, I was walking bored until I felt watched and wanted to run. He said something serious and nervous at the same time. Issei, Yuvio. He said seriously. Pareto. Well, I'm going to sleep now. He said heading to his room. Issei. How strange. He said seriously. Issei. No boy his age goes to sleep at 7:30 p.m. He said confused. Issei. Well, I better kill time playing. He said going to turn on his Xbox 360. The next day. Pareto and Issei are seen having breakfast. Pareto. Hey, this is boring. He said something annoying. Issei. Male, what are you saying? He asked lazily. Pareto. There is no action, I felt better in the time room, there we trained non-stop and had entertaining battles, but now everything is boring. He said, cutting his head on the table. Issei. Well, I think I could. He didn't finish because he felt an enormous power. Issei. That power is crossing the atmosphere. He said surprised. Pareto. What a way to start the morning. He said excitedly. Issei. Call the others, we have to go immediately. He said seriously, receiving a settlement from the chestnut and watched as it disappeared. While Issei went to his room and took out a box from under his bed. When he opened the box he was surprised but smiled. But off to one side he saw a letter and began to read it. Issei, this will help you in an important battle and also give you a new style. At. Son Goku. Issei. Sensei, thank you very much. He said with a smile, taking out what was inside the box. Chapter 20. All of Issei's friends were in the living room of the aforementioned house. Jake. Kuredo, what's going on? Why did you call us so suddenly? He asked, somewhat annoyed as he took him out of the shower. Kuredo. Don't get angry anymore, but well, I called them because Issei said that there is an enormous power that is nearby and he wants us to go now. He said something serious. Inami. And where is Issei-kun? She asked curiously. Issei. Here I am. He said, scaring the others as he suddenly appeared. Jake. Damn, Issei, you almost gave us a heart attack. He said, breathing heavily. Issei. Sorry, haha. He said, scratching his neck. Inami. And that suit? She asked curiously. Issei. Well, Goku-sensei left it for me. He said with a smile. Leo. You look good. She said, a little blushing. Jake. Leaving that aside, why did you get me out of the shower? He said, something annoying. Issei. Sorry about that, and I called you because you arrived. He said, the latter seriously. Everyone was surprised by the black-haired man's statement. Kuredo. It's a joke, right? He asked nervously. Issei. No, it's not a joke, and apparently he's much stronger than what Goku-sensei told me. Jake. Maybe he trained to kill him, but since he died, he's coming for you now. He said seriously. Kuredo. I think that's not the only problem we have. He said seriously. Inami. What do you mean? She asked, intrigued. Kuredo. I mean the factions will interfere in this. He said more seriously. Issei. Damn it, I forgot about those idiots. He shouted angrily. Jake. Hey, calm down, man. He said, raising his hand. Issei. Sorry, but surely those idiots won't hesitate to go and send their troops, and Frieza's army is very powerful. He said, annoyed. Kuredo. Why do we worry? They will feel the power of Frieza, and if they know what suits them they will not go. He said calmly. Issei. Well, you have a reason for that. He didn't finish as he made a gesture of annoyance. Leo. What's up? She asked worriedly. Issei. They're already there. He said, annoyed. Kuredo. I shouldn't have underestimated them. He said, the same as Issei. Issei. Well, we have to go now, before they kill you, so each one of you hold on to each other's shoulders, and Kuredo, hold on to mine. He said, and then saw that everyone did what he told them. Kuredo. That's it, now let's go. He said, something serious. Issei. Well, prepare yourselves because you will face a real demon. He said, putting his 2 fingers on his forehead and then disappearing in a blur. When they arrived they saw the faction leaders along with all those who betrayed Issei in front of the ship and who apparently did not notice their presence. Issei. If you want, they are stupid. He said, annoyed. Kuredo. I shouldn't have opened my big mouth. He said, the same as Issei. At that moment, a hatch opened at the top of the ship and out came a Frieza with a sly smile. Frieza. Wow, it seems I caught the attention of many cockroaches. He said, looking at those from the factions who were not saying anything. Frieza. But after all it wasn't so bad, since the one he wanted to see also came. He said with a sinister smile, looking at Issei and his group. The factions looked where the strange being saw to be surprised that Issei was there. The Gremory group saw Issei and almost attacked him if they hadn't been stopped, with the exception of Kaneko, since she kept staring at Kuredo obsessively. All those in Issei's group ignored them and just looked at Frieza. Until the black-haired man decided to speak. Issei. Frieza, and now why did you come? He said seriously and surprising those of the factions since he knew who he was. Frieza. Well, the reason I came to this place is to kill you and destroy this damn planet that has only been the cause of all my problems. He said angrily. Issei. What problems are you talking about? He asked curiously but at the same time seriously. Frieza. Well, to begin with, this is the planet where the bastard who brutally humiliated me was raised, and it is the planet where those annoying apes reproduced. He said more angrily. Issei. But why are you attacking now? No one has done anything to you. He said seriously. Frieza. I was planning to come and kill that damn Goku, but when I found out he died, it seemed frustrating since I couldn't kill him. But curiously, 2 years ago I felt his power again, which seemed perfect since I could kill him, but upon analyzing it better, I was disappointed since at the same time it was different from his, but it seemed like the perfect opportunity to destroy the planet where he grew up. The latter, he said with a macabre smile. Issei. Don't think I'm going to allow it. He said more seriously. Frieza. Hahaha, I'm sorry, but judging by your appearance I don't think you last long in the fight. He said mockingly. Issei. Just because he's different from Goku-sensei doesn't mean he's weak, and I'm going to show you that. He said, starting to approach. Frieza. Well, try it. He said, getting up from his floating throne and going to the black-haired man to stand face to face with the aforementioned. Chapter 21. Everything was silent, nobody said anything because of the tense atmosphere. But the most nervous were the factions since they did not know what was happening and the pressure exerted by Issei and Frieza, who continued to look at each other in a serious manner. Then someone decides to speak. Zersich. What's going on? He said very nervously. Pareto. What happens is that you are about to see something unparalleled. Jake. And you better protect yourselves or you might get blown away. Rias. Why do you say that? Jake. You'll see. With this eye. Issei. I can see that in this time you have become very strong. Frieza. It's good that you realized it because you are the only one who will die from seeing the power of the great Frieza. He said very arrogantly. Issei. I want to see that. In a quick movement, both of them collided their fists, creating a gigantic crater and releasing a very strong blast of air that sent all the supernatural beings flying. But they didn't stop there as they started an exchange of blows that further enlarged the crater, causing a large smokescreen, but the thunderous sounds caused by the blows could still be heard. But then the thunder stopped and someone could be seen flying out and crashing into a mountain, leaving no trace of it. When everyone could see who it was, they were surprised to see that it was Issei with some wounds and a trickle of blood coming down from one mouth. Issei. You became stronger than I thought. He said with a smile. Frieza. And it seems that you got a little strong. Issei. I know this is not the time, but I must say this will be fun. He said in an excited tone. Frieza. Despite not being Goku, you're just as idiotic. At that he throws himself to hit the black-haired man in the face, sending him flying and then appearing above Issei and joining his hands, he gave him a hammer blow that sent him crashing to the ground, which caused a gigantic crater to be made. Issei. Damn. He's beating me up, it's time to get serious. He said to give a shout and passed to the Super Saiyan Blue suddenly. Frieza. It seems you're going to get serious, well, me too. After saying that he gave a shout and changed into a new form. Issei. But how did you get that power? He said very surprised. Frieza. Well, I took the opportunity to become stronger so that this time there would be no one who could surpass me. Although this cost me almost my entire army. He said with a smile. Issei. Well, I won't be left behind in X20. He shouted so that a red aura appeared above the SSJ Blue's aura. At that, Frieza launches himself against Issei, who blocked the punch by putting his arms in an X, but that didn't stop him from retreating. But he didn't count on the evil emperor appearing behind him. At that moment he received a punch in the stomach that made him spit out a little blood. Issei. Damn, the fact that he's using SSJ Blue with Kaioken didn't change anything, and if I use Ultra Instinct, it will waste a lot of energy. But he receives a kick to the side of his head that sends him crashing into some rocks. Frieza. What's wrong? Can't you do it anymore? He asked arrogantly. Issei. No, this is just beginning. He lunges at Frieza, punching him in the face. But to his surprise, the evil emperor dodges it easily and receives a punch in the stomach, causing him to spit a lot of blood and sending him flying to a mountain, thus destroying it. Frieza. It's a shame you can't give me more of a fight, but that's what you can expect from a brainless monkey like you, damn Saiyan. At that he turns to see those who were watching the fight, terrifying the factions. Frieza. Although, I might be able to have a little fun. But then everything started to shake suddenly and a pillar appeared, leaving those present without sight for a few seconds. But when the light faded you could see the black-haired man with silver eyes and a blue aura. Frieza. Wow, that's Ultra Instinct, but even so my power is superior. Issei. We'll see about that. He said in a cold manner. Issei. I just have to let myself go, it's just a matter of time. At that moment, at a monster speed, he lunged at Frieza, who couldn't react in time, and received a blow to the face that sent him crashing into some mountains. But after a few seconds, Frieza emerges from the rubble. Frieza. That hit didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. He said with a smile. Issei. Let's see how much longer that smile lasts. He said in a cold manner. Then Frieza goes against Issei to give him a shower of blows. But he just dodged them perfectly, which made Frieza angry. But the aforementioned receives a shower of blows all over his body, stunning him and sending him flying. Frieza. Your defense is impressive, but your hits not so much. Issei. A little more. Whisper. Frieza. You're not saying anything. Issei. If you want my blows to hurt you, that's what you'll get. Pouncing on the evil emperor, giving him another barrage of blows that this time were starting to hurt. But no matter how hard the black-haired man tried, he wouldn't let him get back up. This continued for a few more minutes, during which Frieza was already super pissed off. Frieza. Grrr damn monkey, I'll kill you. Expelling a large amount of power, he managed to land a strong blow on Issei's stomach, who lost in the state of Ultra Instinct and fell to the ground. Those present were very scared since he was the only one who could confront him. Kuredo. Shit, he defeated him. Leo. What do we do now? She said very worried. Jake. We just have to impersonate Issei while he recovers. Then that Kuredo and Jake transform into SSJ God and the girls activate the Kaioken X10. Freezer. Well, it seems that you also want to die, so go ahead, because after having fun with you, I will kill this vermin. He said with an evil smile. Kuredo. Jake, you know what we'll do if this gets out of hand, right? Jake. It bothers me to do that kind of thing, but we have no choice. He said seriously and somewhat annoyed by what he had to do. Kuredo. Okay, let's go. At that the group launched itself at Freezer who just stood there still with a smile. Kuredo and Jake try to hit Frieza in the face, but he stops them and knees each of them, causing them to spit out a large amount of blood. They then grab their heads and smash them together, leaving them bleeding from their foreheads and throwing them to the ground. While that was happening, the three girls launched their best attacks on Freezer, making a great exploitation. Inami. Shit, that's not enough, not even close. He said watching the smokescreen disappear, revealing the Emperor of Evil intact. While Issei was watching this with frustration at not having enough energy to defeat Frieza. While the supernatural beings were scared shitless upon witnessing such an amount of power. The three girls kept throwing a lot of Kai attacks. But none of that worked. Mikuri. Damn, how much power does this bastard have? Leo. We didn't hurt him at all. They said desperately. Freezer. Well, my turn. Launching a Kai blast that made a gigantic explosion. When the smokescreen dissipated, Yanami, Mikuri and Mio were seen badly injured on the ground. Freezer. They really insist on boring me. He said making another Kai blast. But then he heard the following words. Function. Hi. When he turned to see a flash it blinded him for a few seconds. And when he could see well, he saw a brown-haired boy with only a vest with yellow edges on the top, white pants and a blue felt. I'm ready. Chapter 22. A half. I'm ready. Those were the words of a new warrior born from the role of a pair of boys who attained the power of the gods. That new warrior stared at the demon of cold. Freezer. So, a function, huh? So tell me who you are. I am the being that was born from the function of Jake and Kuredo. I am Jurado, and I will have no mercy on you. The already identified as Jurado raised his power until he transformed into SSJ Red God. Freezer. Haha, your power rose suddenly, and that transformation has more power than before. Jurado. Not only did Jake and Kuredo's powers merge, but they are now more powerful. Approaching Freezer. Freezer. Then prove it. At that, Freezer launches himself towards the function with a kick in the chest. But he dodges it, and in a quick movement he hits him in the stomach, which buries him in the ground, grabs him by the face, and presses him against the floor, immobilizing him. Jurado. What's going on? Is that the power of the great Freezer? Freezer. Insolent kid. Expelling much more power, sending the function flying. But he recovered and fell on his feet on the ground. Jurado. It seems your power went up more than I expected, haha, this will be fun. Launching himself against Frieza. Freezer. I'm surrounded by idiots. He thought and then launched himself at Jurado. They began an exchange of blows that made large craters. But it was clear that Freezer had the advantage. At that, Jurado hits him in the jaw, raising him very high. Jurado teleports above the evil emperor and, joining his hands, hits him with a hammer in the face, sending him into a gigantic crater. Elsewhere. The badly injured Issei was seen under some rocks that had a small opening. Through that small opening I saw what was happening. I watched as the pair of boys fought against the evil emperor. But the black-haired man knew something. And Freezer only plays with them. Wait for the moment when the show is over so you have more toys, so to speak. He was trying to get up. But he couldn't, the Ultra Instinct wore him out a lot and he didn't have any hermit seeds. He could only watch and make the greatest effort to be able to move, fight and finish once and for all the threat of Freezer. Back in the fight. The function gave its all. I was confident that I had won. But what he didn't know was that Freezer just let himself be hit and sometimes dodged and stopped some hits to hide it. He knew that the show was almost over. And when that happens, what he calls fun would come. And that he gives him a shower of blows, sending him to the ground with a blow to the face and throwing blasts of Kai at him, causing a large smoke screen. Jurado. Don't tell me you're tired. In a boastful tone. Freezer. It's not that, but I'm waiting for something. With a macabre voice and a smile of the same type. Jurado. TSK, stop talking nonsense and fight. Launching himself to deliver a flurry of blows. A few minutes later. Freezer was defeated on the ground and the function was in front of him. Kuredo. Wow, I thought you'd give me more of a fight, but it was just a disappointment. It didn't end because it started to shine and separated, revealing Jake and Kuredo, who were very surprised. Freezer. That's what I expected. Getting up and seeing how the pair of teenagers were getting desperate. Kuredo. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Jake. Damn, we were too confident. Kuredo. And he didn't even turn into blue, damn it. Grabbing his head with both hands. Freezer. There's no point in complaining anymore, but the torture and screams of agony will be an amazing spectacle. Throwing himself at both boys who could do nothing and received a punch in the face each. But it didn't end there, as the cold demon grabbed both of their heads and at sonic speed dragged them across the ground, leaving a large trail of destruction. Then he picks them up and kicks them so hard that they destroy a mountain, leaving them under many rocks. Freezer. Oh, what's up? The fun's just beginning. Throws a Kai sphere that destroys the rocks that were holding two badly injured but conscious boys. The evil emperor pulls Jake and Kuredo's feet and starts slamming them into the ground. Jake ah. Kuredo. Ah. Their screams of pain resonated throughout the place, echoing in the minds of everyone who saw the scene. The supernatural beings were horrified by the scene. The Kuri, Mio and Yanami, who could barely see, were very worried and furious. Issei, who also saw the scene, tried to get up with all his strength. But due to lack of energy he couldn't. He began to despair. Issei. Curse, curse, curse. These were the words he said as he watched the boys being tortured. And torture. Freezer was laughing like crazy as he whipped a pair of Saiyans. Then that he throws them to a mountain, destroying it. But Jake and Kuredo get up with difficulty. Freezer. Ha 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 ha, you don't give up easily, do you? Then. He raises his Dilo, launching a beam of it, and without them being able to do anything, it pierces Kuredo's chest, causing him to let out a heart-rending scream. Kuredo. Aye. He falls on his back. Jake Mikuri Yanami Mio Kaneko. Kuredo. They shouted worriedly. Jake. Evil. He shouted furiously, about to throw himself. But Freezer positions himself behind him and surrounds his neck with his tail still behind him and lifts him up, starting to hit him on the back. Jake. Ayarg. Freezer. Ha 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 ha. He laughed like a psychopath. Kuredo. D-damn, stop it. Freezer. So you also want to suffer more, huh? After saying that he lifted his foot or whatever he uses to walk and stepped on his wound. Watch up to minute 138. Kuredo. Ayarg. Her screams horrified everyone who saw her even more. Frieza hit Jake on the back while pressing and continuing to squeeze Kuredo's wound. Their screams did not stop and their friends watched them with helplessness, worry and despair. Chapter 22. Two halves, end. The screams did not stop, no matter how hard they tried not to scream, it was useless. But what also resonated were the maniacal laughter of the Emperor of Evil, who truly lived up to his title. The girls watched this with frustration, helplessness and tears threatening to come out. Issei was no different. He was trying to move desperately. But it was useless, the Ultra Instinct wore him down a lot. Every cry of agony was also for him. But then something crossed his mind. He remembered that just before leaving, he saw that Goku had kept a bag of hermit beans in his suit. Issei. I'm a complete idiot, how could I forget that? So with all his strength he moved his hand to the side of his belt where there was a small bag tied and opening it and taking out a. Issei. Please hold on a little longer. Taking the seed to his mouth with great effort. But supernatural beings. They were scared shitless when they saw how that guy had no mercy on the kids while they heard them scream. No one could move. The Gremories were covering their mouths with their hands. And Kaneko couldn't stop crying seeing her Kuredo being tortured without being able to do anything. But they feel how the ground begins to shake abruptly as rocks rise. In that, where the black-haired man was caught, a gigantic explosion could be seen, blowing everyone away except for Freezer and his victims. Freezer. What the hell is that? Somewhat amazed. But then a dark blue flash at the speed of light hits Frieza, causing him to drop the boys and sending him flying far away from there. Seeing who it was, they were surprised to see Issei once again in Ultra Instinct. The black-haired boy approaches the boys dying on the floor and makes them eat a hermit seed, thus recovering instantly. The duo looked at the black-haired man with surprise. Kuredo. Issei. But this one interrupted him. Issei. Feed these seeds to the girls and get away from here. Giving the bag to the chestnut and teleporting to where Frieza was lying. Freezer. How are you damned? Getting up and shooting at Issei with a punch. But the black-haired man blocks him and hits him in the stomach, sending him flying into a mountain and destroying the. Freezer. Grrrrrrrr, I'm not going to lose because of a damn monkey. Lighting up his light pink aura and launching himself at the black-haired man. The evil emperor launched a barrage of blows at high speed, which Issei only dodged with a stoic expression. Frieza. Stop moving. Growing so angry that his veins were still visible all over his body even with his attack. The black-haired man said nothing and punched him in the face, burying him many meters into the ground. While with the others. Pareto. Come on Mio, this will cure you. Trying to give him the seed in his mouth. Iridi didn't really accept it and ate it. She was surprised to feel her wounds returning and her energies being renewed. Yanami. Well, let's see how Issei is. Already recovered like her sister. So everyone lit up their wide auras and quickly flew to where the fight was originating. Back with Issei. He was standing there doing nothing with his head down. But then he jumped back and saw how Frieza left the place where he was standing. Frieza. I'm not going to let you keep making fun of me, damn it. At that point he begins to raise his power, causing the earth to tremble. Frieza. Ayahaya. He shouted really angry, raising his power causing a glow that made Issei cover his eyes and his companions stop and cover their eyes. When the glow faded, you could see a really pissed off Frieza with his muscles bigger. Frieza. I'm tired of you, so I'll go with my 100%. Launching himself at supreme speed against Issei with a blow that Issei dodged with some difficulty. But he didn't stop there, so he started throwing punches left and right. But these were dodged with some difficulty, thus causing much destruction in the place. His companions had already arrived and were surprised to find they could barely see his movements. But they were even more surprised to see that in the few times they could see Issei, it became more difficult to dodge and block the attacks, and he looked with an expression of effort. Until Frieza was able to land a blow to his face, sending him tumbling into the ground, leaving a giant crater, and seeing that his eyes lost their silver color. Pareto. Oh damn, again. He said worriedly. Jake. But we can't help damn, that guy is very powerful. Clenching fists in helplessness. Everyone was the same, unable to do anything to support the black-haired man. Until. Mine. Come on, Issei-kun, you can defeat him. He shouted with all his might, surprising the others. But after thinking about it a bit they smiled. Jake. Issei, show us what you're made of and defeat him. Yanami. You can do it. Destroy that monster. Makuri. Don't give up. Pareto. Listen to me carefully. I won't forgive you for losing, we put our trust in you, so finish Frieza, Issei. His friends shouted with all their might, encouraging the black-haired boy. Issei could hear them, and so he started to get up from the ground while his eyes were covered by his hair. At that, Frieza comes down in front of the black-haired man. Frieza. Hey, your friends are very noisy after killing you the next ones will be those worms, so I'll finally finish what I left pending centuries ago. Pointing his finger at him and charging a death ray. But once again the earth begins to shake. The sky darkens and lightning begins to fall. The black-haired man still had his eyes darkened. But then he opened them a little and you could see that they were a brighter silver color. In that. Issei. Aya. He gave a powerful scream that was heard around the world, only this scream was mixed with a roar from Izaru. A very strong brightness appeared, causing Frieza to move away and cover his eyes, as did the spectators. The glow lasted a few more seconds. When the glow faded, something could be seen that made his companions happy and terrified Frieza. The now silver-haired man stared at the cold demon with a gaze so cold it could freeze Tartar. That pressure that generated affected even his friends who had difficulty breathing, but they were still happy, and more so Yanami and Mio, who had a nosebleed that they tried to control. But the one who was not well was Frieza, who remembered how Goku humiliated Jiren with that state. But his pride wouldn't let him give up. Frieza. Hey, I remember when Goku caught up with him he did it in a similar way, just as unpleasant. Launching himself against Issei who had a divine speed, gave him hundreds of hits in a second and sent him flying. And that he teleports above Frieza and punches him in the face, which does not send him to the ground and makes Frieza spit out a lot of blood. But it didn't end there as it quickly fell and buried him in the ground. Frieza just screamed in pain after receiving such a beating from the silver-haired man. Issei. This is not over. Lifting it from the tail and starts coring it on the ground and on some mountains and destroying them. When he finishes, he throws him upwards, teleports and punches him in the stomach with Kai around the fist to make it more powerful and sent him to the ground, causing a smokescreen when he collided. As Issei lowered himself to the ground seeing the smokescreen. When the smoke cleared, it was seen that Frieza no longer had his transformation, lying face down and very injured. The silver-haired man, seeing this, slowly walks towards the cold demon, standing in front of him while looking at him coldly. Frieza. Why you're a damn thing. He said as he looked at him furiously. Issei. I don't have much time in this state so with this I'll finish what Goku-sensei couldn't. Jumping away, put your hands at waist level and say. Issei. Kaya. Me. The blue sphere appears in the middle of his palms. Issei. Hi. Me. The sphere becomes brighter, implying that it is ready. Freezer. Wait no. Issei. Hi. And with that powerful shout he fired a huge torrent of energy that headed towards Frieza at great speed. Freezer no. Damn it. That was the last thing he shouted before being completely disintegrated by Issei's Kamehameha. While the torrent headed to the sky and being at a considerable height caused an explosion that could be heard throughout the world, including the underworld, heaven, Gremory, Asgard and the other factions, there was no place where that explosion was not heard. When the silver-haired man finished, he stood looking at the sky. As his friends approached they saw that Issei was motionless. Yanami. Issei, are you okay? Worried? The silver-haired man did not respond. It was like that for a few seconds. Until it returned to its base state and collapsed on the ground. All. Issei. They shouted worriedly and went to help the black-haired man. Pareto, seeing that she was unconscious, became more worried. Pareto. Oh no, in that state he won't be able to eat the seed, and if we wait he might die. The others, upon hearing this, became more worried. Yanami. Give me one. He said with his face shadowed. The chestnut tree, having an idea of what would happen, listened and gave him a seed. The girl took it, put it in her mouth and started chewing it. Yanami. Please let it work. He thought approaching the black man and joining their mouths, Yanami opened Issei's mouth and with his tongue introduced the chewed seed, making the seed go down Issei's throat. But Yanami took advantage of the moment and continued with the kiss. They were like that for a few seconds until the brunette regained consciousness and when he felt that Yanami was kissing him he was very surprised. The girl separated from Issei. And when she saw that he was awake and with his eyes wide open, she blushed a lot and turned around, covering her face. The others were amazed. But they smiled when they saw the black-haired man recovered. Pareto. Good thing you recovered quickly. Issei. Yes, but I didn't expect Yanami to take advantage of that haha. The others laughed too, and Yanami only blushed more. Yanami. Don't laugh. He screamed with a massive blush. Issei. But I really appreciate that they didn't do it. Getting up from the ground and standing in front of Yanami. Yanami. Really? Issei. That's right, if it weren't for you, I would have died for sure, thank you very much Yanami-chan. But the Goku trademark smile. The aforementioned only blushed more. Issei. And there's something I've wanted to ask you for a long time. Highly strung. Yanami. And what is it? Curious. Issei. Well Leto Yanami, would you like to be my girlfriend? I shouted blushing and with my eyes closed. They were silent for a few seconds. Yanami. Yes. He said in a whisper. Issei. Huh. Yanami. Yes. Tackling Issei, both were on the ground while Yanami hugged Issei, who upon hearing her response, reciprocated the hug. They both looked into each other's eyes, getting lost in each other's gaze. So they brought their faces closer. And so, both joined their lips in a kiss that contained a lot of love and affection from both of them. The others just smiled at the scene. Even Mio, who was jealous but still wasn't going to give up. And let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.